Chapter 51, The Hidden Bird Village. You proposed to build the Hidden Bird Village in the Land of Birds. I have sent Ashu and Guanjun to the Land of Birds to gather wandering ninjas. They have gathered more than 2,000 ninjas now. Although half of them have become genin with the help of spirits, we can prepare to build the village now. Shagu raised his eyebrows and looked at Luo Sha with a smile on his face. From the first generation laying the foundation of Sunagakure, through the pioneering initiatives of the second generation, to the active expansion of the third generation, later historical records stated that the third generation must have been a hero of Sunagakure. That's right, it's me, the Sandame Kazekage, Shako. The villain in Shagu's heart put his hands on his hips and laughed up to the sky, his teeth showing and his eyes not visible. Oh? Ashu's Pidgeot has evolved into Pidgeot, and Guanjun's Muko has evolved into Mukabura. Together with the Pokémons, they barely have the strength of an elite Jonin, enough to become the leader of the village of Torii. Luo Sha nodded affirmatively. Both Yashu and Guanjun were talented trainers, and they were also a pair of rivals. Ashu's original spiritual animal was a desert rat. The desert rat was playful and accidentally fell into the pot in the cafeteria, and Ashur lost his spiritual animal sadly. As for the unlucky ninja who ate rat meat, it was Guanjun. After Guanjun found out, he started vomiting and diarrhea, even throwing up the food he had eaten the night before. The two of them had a big fight, a fist fight like elementary school students, with bloodshot faces and swollen noses. The key point of the dispute between the two senior ninjas was that the fight was so indecent that it immediately attracted many eyeballs and aroused widespread attention from the public. Shagudu heard about this incident. Thinking of Ashu's loss of his spiritual beast and Guanjun's misfortune of having to eat rat meat, and the fact that the two had made a lot of contributions to the village, Shagu gave them Pokémon eggs. The Pokémon eggs rewarded by Shagu were all extracted from the system by Rosa, so both Pidgeot and MKKL have an individual value of 3V. It can be said that Ashur and Guanjun have a blessing in disguise. After Kakuzu opened up a market in the Bird Kingdom, Shagu sent Ashu and Guanjun to the Bird Kingdom. The two of them took books such as the Pokémon Protection Method and Pokémon Science and went to the Bird Country to recruit ninjas and train talents. Only after a wandering ninja passes the test of the two and ensures that he is responsible for the Pokémons can he become a ninja of the Sunagakure Village. In the ninja's concept, summoned beasts are partners who fight side by side, and most ninjas will get along with their summoned beasts in a friendly manner. These wandering ninjas originally had no chance to learn any D-level ninjutsu, but now they can possess summoning beasts. They all study like crazy in order to pass the test. This is their chance to reach the top in one step. Most of the wandering ninjas in the Land of Birds have gathered around Ashu and Guanjun. The time has come to establish the Hidden Bird Village. After the establishment of the Hidden Bird Village, the spirit industry in the Kingdom of Birds was truly stable. The spirit shop not only had regular customers, but also received protection from ninjas. The most important thing is that with the endorsement of the Hidden Bird Village, the speed of popularizing Pokémons in the Bird Country will be greatly accelerated. Master, I can make Sunagakure Village one of the best small ninja villages in one fell swoop. Luo Sha thought of the orange habitat he had just obtained. There must be Pokémons with cage-level combat power in it. If it was placed in the Hidden Bird Village, it would be enough to make the Hidden Bird Village directly the 7th ninja village. Among the small ninja villages, Takigakure has lost the 7 tails, so only the Rain Village can suppress the Sunagakure Village. A cage-level Pokémon? As long as we can ensure that it can be used by us, it is not a problem to put it in the Hidden Sand Village. Shagu still hoped to keep the cage-level Pokémon in the Hidden Sand Village, but he did not refuse. Having one more cage-level Pokémon in Sunagakure won't change anything, but with a cage-level Pokémon, Sunagakure Village can develop rapidly and attract more wandering ninjas and civilians to join. Now that the Hidden Bird Village has a cage-level spirit, other great ninja villages will not easily invade the Land of Birds. Over time, the Land of Birds will be completely under our control. Luo Sha's goal is to swallow up the Bird Kingdom. At the very least, he wants to be like Yingmei in his previous life, with his father following his lead. Luo Sha, the key is where do the shadow-level Pokémons come from? Are they obtained from the Pokémon world? That's right, Master. Leave this matter to me. The Kingdom of Birds now has 2 green habitats, and Luo Sha plans to deploy the orange habitat into the Kingdom of Birds first. Anyway, the relationship between Sunagakure Village and Sand Village is, what's yours is mine, and what's mine is still mine. Orange habitats can maximize benefits when placed in Bird Country. March 30 RD, the 8th year of Sunagakure. When the 4 major ninja villages were engaging in a small-scale confrontation, 2 pieces of news spread throughout the ninja world. The Togakure village is officially established. The Toragakure village announced an alliance with the Sand village. The 4 great ninja villages, what is Little Karami? Anyone with a discerning eye could see that these were the henchmen supported by the Sand village. A village made up of more than 2,000 wandering ninjas could be easily defeated by any elite team. However, it is true that the 4 major ninja villages are unhappy. The foreign ministries of the 4 villages tacitly launched a new round of public opinion wars, all accusing the Sand village of its shameless behavior. Rasa, representing the envoy of Sand village, attended the village founding ceremony of Toragakure village and also represented Sand village in an alliance with Toragakure. The Hidden Bird village is different from traditional ninja villages. Every ninja in the Hidden Bird village has a flying Pokémon, and the ninjas' assessment and promotion are completely linked to the Pokémons. All the ninjas in Toragakure are trainers. The Hidden Bird village has opened a special Pokémon school to recruit ordinary people who love Pokémons. As long as they pass the graduation test, they can also become trainers. Before this, the spirit studies offered by the Sand Village Ninja School also recruited ordinary people, who became non-ninja trainers after graduation. Once the first batch of students graduate, Sunagakure will be able to open a spirit school. The Toragakure Pokémon School in the village is a pilot project to test the quality of the Pokémon School. All of this was arranged by Luo Xia behind the scenes, with Ashu and Guanjun carrying out the execution. The Pokémon market needs to be expanded to the grassroots level, and Pokémons need to be popularized among the general public. This is a long process. The production level of the Naruto world determines that Pokémons are currently only suitable for development among ninja groups and aristocratic groups. These are the Pokémon eggs of the Crow Chief and the Warrior Eagle. Distribute them among yourselves. Develop the Hidden Bird Village well. I will find a shadow-level Pokémon as the guardian of the Hidden Bird Village. Luo Xia handed the 2 Pokémon eggs to Yashu and Guanjun. The 2 took them excitedly and bowed to Luo Xia to express their gratitude. There are many insect-type Pokémons in the Pokémon habitat of Bird Country. You should capture some and train them. Vigorously develop the textile industry and make it the pillar industry of the Hidden Bird Village. The Toragakure village has no support from the daimyo of the Land of Birds and no source of military funds, so it can only be self-sufficient. After discussing some important matters, Luo Xia and the other 3 left Toragakure village. Watching Luo Xia disappear from their sight, Guanjun and Ashu looked at each other and immediately started fighting over the distribution of Pokémon eggs. I want the crow leader. Ashu pulled Guanjun's hair and roared. Why should I give it to you just because you want it? I want the crow head too. Although Guanjun liked the warrior eagle, he didn't want Ashu to get his wish, so he argued with Ashu. Guanjun, anyway, as long as I can make you unhappy, I will be happy. Chapter 52, Bird Country, Zapdos. While the Toragakure village was bustling with activity, the capital of the Bird Kingdom was shrouded in dark clouds. The daimyo of the Land of Birds is now in a panic. He resists the establishment of the village of Torii, but dares not refute the will of the village of Sand. It's bad, it's coming towards me. The daimyo of the Land of Birds, what do you think, my dear ministers? Ministers. Daimyo of the Land of Birds, why are all the civil and military officials in the court silent? The inner thoughts of the ministers, why don't you just lie down? Do you have to go up and get killed? The Sand village should quickly annex the Land of Birds, so that I can also be from a great country in the future. Prime Minister Zhongxian, who looked righteous, stood up and said loudly, Konoha failed its people and was eventually defeated by the elite army of Sunagakure. The country of birds should submit to Sunagakure so as to work together for the great cause and share prosperity. Zhongxian has been Prime Minister for 30 years and has been concerned about the country and the people all his life. However, the bird country is a hopeless case that is not even qualified to establish a ninja village. Now, under the manipulation of Sunagakure, Toragakure village has been established. This is a ninja village built on the territory of the Land of Birds, and is equivalent to a child of the Land of Birds. But my father's surname was not Niao, but Xia. How is this different from face-to-face NTR? The bird country is now wearing a green hat, but it still has to say that the hat is really beautiful. Zhongxian felt miserable, but he discovered a new track that was very feasible. Since the bird kingdom cannot be helped up no matter what, let's just let it go to the wind. When this is successful, I, Zhongxian, will also be a great contributor to the kingdom of wind. Can working for your country be called betrayal? As a spiritual citizen of the Wind Country, Zhongxian has already regarded himself as the country of wind. The daimyo of the Land of Birds trusted Zhongxian very much, and all daily government affairs were handled by Zhongxian, so he directly handed over the affairs of Sunagakure Village to Zhongxian. The next day, Ashu and Guanjun, wrapped in bandages, received the envoys from the Bird Kingdom. What shocked the two men was that the Bird Country was not coming to cause trouble, but to give money, commonly known as military expenses. Ashu, am I still sleepy? Does this daimyo like to be a cuckold? Guanjun, never mind, let's get the benefits first. After a friendly exchange, the two realized that it was all Zhongxian's idea. They immediately approved of Zhongxian, saying that he was truly a good prime minister for the Kingdom of Wind. The ruler and his ministers of the country of Torii had long been alienated, and the daimyo was depressed and unhappy, living a life of drunkenness and debauchery every day. The ministers opened the country's doors to welcome the arrival of Sunagakure, and secretly gave Sunagakure Village great convenience. In this way, the Sunagakure Village completely established its foothold in the Land of Birds. Luo Xia and his three companions left Sunagakure Village and later arrived at Yukang Mountain. Luo Xia placed the orange habitat in Yukang Mountain in the Bird Kingdom and named it Yukang Habitat. The Yukang Habitat is mainly home to normal, bug, flying, grass, and poison-type Pokémon, and the guardian of the habitat is a Zapdos. The Zapdos was perched on the top of Yukang Mountain. When it saw Luo Xia and the other three coming, it flapped its wings and flew up, but did not launch an attack. Luo Xia possesses the power of Evergreen and the feather of Poseidon, and the aura on his body makes Zapdos feel very comfortable. Wow! Name Zapdos. Gender none. Attribute electricity, flying. Feature static electricity, sometimes it will paralyze the opponent it touches. Level LV75, mid-level Shadow. Individual 5V, HP 27, Attack 31, Defense 31, Special Attack 31, Special Defense 31, SPEED 31. Skills: Magnetic Field Control, Electromagnetic Cannon, Thunder, See-Through, Discharge, Feather Roosting, Pecking and Drilling, Primitive Power. This is the highest level Pokémon that Luo Xia has seen so far. After all, it is a member of the legendary Beast Clan, and the panel of the Zapdos is still very luxurious. The feathers of the Zapdos shine like gold, its eyes are surrounded by black ring-shaped feathers, it has a long sharp orange beak, and its wings and tail are covered with sharp spike-like feathers. These feathers are like lightning cutting through the sky when it flies, showing amazing power. The back of the wings and the inside of the tail feathers are hidden with black feathers, and the crown of the head is made up of a large group of sharp feathers, which is as dazzling as a crown. The legs are cocky, the thighs are exposed, and the feet have 4 toes. The tail behind is short but full of power, and every feather seems to be emitting electricity. It's the middle school look of Zapdos, and its small eyes are also very cute. Hello, Zapdos. You are the most handsome Pokémon I have ever seen. Luo Xia lied without blushing or beating his heart. Just by looking at the clear eyes and the immature look of the Zapdos, Luo Xia already knew the character of this Zapdos. As expected, he is one of the 3 stupid birds, so just praise him and that's it. Lie, really? I told you, those 2 idiots, Articuno and Moltres, are not as pretty as me, so why are they more popular? Really, Luo Xia, never tell lies. Chi. Human, I recognize you. Tell me, what do you want from me? Zapdos, there is no Moltres or Articuno in this world. You are the first member of the 3 sacred birds to appear. Do you know what this means? Hey! Looking at the dull look in Zapdos's eyes, Luo Xia continued to fool him. You can develop in this world faster than them. When the other 3 sacred birds appear, you will have become a sacred beast, and you will be their eldest brother. Moltres and Articuno are their younger brothers, your younger brothers. Cri. The eyes of the lightning bird became brighter and brighter, and lightning surrounded its body, as if its G-spot had been hit, and it reached a climax. Obviously, the deception was very effective. And I can help you grow faster and ensure your eternal status as the big brother of the 3 sacred birds. In exchange, you only need to help the Torii village and the Sand village when they are in trouble. Who knows when there will be trouble? Anyway, if I say there will be trouble, it will be trouble. When the Sand village attacks Konoha, it will be trouble. How can you help me? That's it, the magical candy. You only need 6 of them, and you can reach the super shadow level and try to obtain a priesthood, right? Although I don't have 6 now, it doesn't mean I won't have them in the future. Luo Sha took out the magic candy and shook it in his hand. Zapdos's attention was completely attracted by the magical candy, and he agreed to Luo Sha's conditions without hesitation. Luo Sha took this opportunity to propose a lot of invisible terms, but the stupid Zapdos didn't hear the hidden meaning in Luo Sha's words at all. He kept his eyes on the magic candy and nodded continuously. Zhong Mai and the other two behind Luo Sha broke out in a sweat after hearing this. Is it so easy to fool? Ye Kang, when Carula is in love, her IQ is 250. This silly bird is born with an IQ of 250. Fortunately, my Moltres is not that stupid. It is still just a baby, so its eyes are so clear. Then how about you enter my Pokeball? Once you enter, I will let you out immediately. You continue to live in Yokang Mountain, and it will not have any impact on you. Luo Sha's true intentions were exposed. Li. Zapdos nodded, and suddenly realized that he seemed to have sold himself out. He immediately shook his head. Li. If you want to conquer me, you have to defeat me first. The Zapdos raised its head proudly. This bird is the big brother of the future 3 sacred birds, how can it be conquered by tiny humans? Chapter 53, A Great Harvest of Pokémons, Forming an Elite Force. Oh? I see, then let's have a passionate battle. Luo Sha released the Metagross and said playfully. The Zapdos didn't notice anything wrong at all. The lump of iron in front of it didn't seem threatening at all. Over the past year, thanks to the auto-play system and training, the 6 Pokémon in Luo Sha's team have increased their levels by an average of 5. The Metagross, which has the feather of Poseidon, has increased its level by a full 7 levels. But the LV52 Metagross only has the combat power of a Jonin level, and has no chance of defeating the cage level Zapdos. But, I'm stuck. Thanks to Lugia for sending the plane. As the blue light flashed, a big blue bird appeared in front of Metagross. Ting! 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 In just 2 seconds, the sound of the lightning bird changed from excitement to shock and then to fear. Zapdos, the boss of the boss? Lugia and the 3 sacred birds have a subordinate relationship, just like Ho-Oh and the 3 sacred beasts. As an ordinary member of the 3 sacred birds, he actually had to face Lugia, and Zapdos was so moved that he almost died. 2 minutes later, the lightning bird fell to the ground, accompanied by miserable bird calls and feathers flying all over the sky. Due to the level suppression and bloodline suppression, the Zapdos didn't even have the courage to fight back. The middle school student Zapdos got a good lesson, and its bare wings and tender white butt announced the end of the battle, and Luo Sha won. The clarity gradually returned to the little eyes of the Zapdos, and it looked at Luo Sha with its tearful eyes, revealing a look of submission. Zapdos, if you had said earlier that you could summon the boss of the boss, would I have had to endure this beating? I would have fallen to my knees long ago. Looking at the bald chicken appearance of Zapdos, Luo Sha tried his best not to laugh, but Suya and the other 2 behind him couldn't help it. Haha, it turns out that birds' butts are also white. Ninjas are professionally trained and usually don't laugh unless they can't help it. Zapdos looked at the 3 people with grief and anger. It had actually fallen to such a state and was being mocked by 3 humans. Sob. Luo Sha stretched out his hand and placed it on the bald chicken's forehead. A faint green light began to appear in the center of his palm, as if it contained endless vitality. Gradually, the green light flowed down like a clear spring, spreading along the bald chicken's head and neck to the whole body. A minute later, as the green light dissipated, the Zapdos returned to its original state, regaining its original majestic bird appearance. Wow! Zapdos stood up excitedly, turned his head to take a closer look at his bright tail feathers that had returned to their original state, and swung his tail with satisfaction. Luo Sha took out the Pokeball, a red light flashed, and the Zapdos was obediently sucked into the ball. With 3 shakes and 1 ding, Luo Sha successfully captured the Zapdos. New achievement: Shadow level Pokemon, receive 61% off coupon for the product. New achievement: Capture Zapdos, obtain 1 Zapdos Mega Evolution Stone. Luo Sha immediately opened the Pokeball and released the Zapdos. After some education, Zapdos became very obedient, and the immaturity and arrogance in the bird's eyes were replaced by flattery. Zapdos, can I talk to the boss of the boss and ask him to choose me as the new leader of the 3 sacred birds? I have wanted to be the boss for a long time, and I really want to make progress. Luo Sha, of course, no problem. I'll take care of it. Lugia and I are close friends. It even gave me its most important tail feathers. If you do a good job, I will definitely let it choose you as the new leader. Zapdos suddenly became full of energy, with an irrepressible excitement flashing in his eyes. The master of making empty promises, Luo Sha, successfully fooled a stupid bird, but Luo Sha felt that he did not lie. Luo Sha will summon Lugia sooner or later. Since he is his future best friend, it's okay to use him to trick the bird in advance, right? After giving Zapdos a bowl of chicken soup, drawing a pie, and assigning a task, Luo Sha fed Zapdos a magic candy and rode on it to conquer the purple quality Pokémons in the Yukang habitat. Purple quality Pokémon have always been scarce, and currently only the Jonin in the Sand Village have the chance to own one, and even the special Jonin have no channels to obtain them. According to the Pokémon settlements shown on the system map, the Yukang habitat has 4 purple quality Pokémon tribes, namely the Bulbasaur tribe, the EV tribe, the Snorlax tribe, and the Scorpion tribe. If these Pokémons can be successfully subdued, it will undoubtedly be a huge boost for the Sand Village. This not only means that the high-end combat power of the Sand Village has been significantly improved, but also the types of Pokémons in the Sand Village can be enriched. These Pokémons will multiply and thrive in the Sand Village in the future, and even become the face Pokémons of the Sand Village. Now the only face-off Pokémon of the Sand Village is Steelix. The Steelix troops performed brilliantly in the war, holding back the strongest demolition team of the Uegakure, and have gained a great reputation. However, the number of other purple quality Pokémons is too small to form an organized group. Luo Sha used the Eye of Sand to conduct a large-scale search in Yukang Mountain and soon found the Venusaur clan. Under the powerful pressure from Zapdos, the leader of the Bulbasaur willingly accepted the promise made by Luo Sha and was willing to move his tribe to the Sand Village. The Bulbasaur tribe is the strongest tribe in the Yukangshan habitat. The Bulbasaur tribe leader is at LV65, which is comparable to the combat power of an elite Jonin. In addition, there are 3 Jonin level and 7 special Jonin level Venusaur, as well as 12 Ivysaur and 20 Bulbasaur seeds. Luo Sha made a big basket with gold dust and put 43 Pokeballs in it, greatly satisfying his collecting hobby. The Scorpio tribe is the second strongest tribe in the Yukangshan habitat. It has a LV62 Scorpio King tribe leader, 2 Jonin level Scorpio Kings, 5 special Jonin level Scorpio Kings, and 30 Scorpions. The number of EV clan is relatively small, there are 5 Leafians and 8 EV. The strongest Leafian has reached LV61, barely reaching the threshold of elite Jonin. The Snorlax tribe has the smallest number of members, with only 4 Snorlax and 6 little Snorlax. However, the Snorlax's combat power is the strongest, with the Snorlax leader reaching LV69, just 2 levels away from becoming a cage-level warrior. Although these 2 levels may never be broken through, as long as you come to the Sand Village, everything is possible. Although leader Snorlax sleeps and slacks off all day long, it does not mean that he does not want to make progress. When he heard that there was a chance to become a cage, he immediately took his people to the Sand Village. Luo Sha used the same pancake to collect all the Pokémons and looked at the 104 Pokeballs in the basket happily. It was another day of harvest. Capturing the Pokémon went much more smoothly than planned. Luo Sha said goodbye to the Zapdos, hummed a song and walked with brisk steps, and the group of figures disappeared into the mountains and forests. 3 days later, in the Sand Village, in the Kazekage building. "Master, I'm back." "Hello, Aunt Nami." Luo Sha pushed open the door and walked into the Kazekage's office. When he saw Nami standing next to Shagu, he greeted her. "Luo Sha, remember to knock before you come in next time." Shagu raised his head and looked at Luo Sha helplessly. "Fortunately, you're back. What did you gain from this trip?" Shagu poured a cup of tea and handed it to Luo Sha, then asked. "Ting ting ting, 104 purple quality Pokémons." Luo Sha took out the basket and placed it on the table with a clang. "Snorlax and EV are rare. After you help them find trainers, try to let them live together and designate a dedicated habitat for them in the oasis. The Sand Village has designated an exclusive habitat for the Pokémons. Ninjas can choose to foster the Pokémons in the habitat so that they can reproduce and thrive, and then take the Pokémons with them when they go on missions. The largest habitat in the Sand Village is the fire-breathing camel habitat. In addition to the fire-breathing camels that live in the village company, there are also many ninjas who will board their fire-breathing camels here. It only costs 300 taels a day, which is very affordable. If you foster your pet a few more times, you will have a chance to get a fire-breathing camel Pokémon egg, which is really a great deal. It is said that a ninja's fire-breathing camel has a strong sexual desire, and every time it is fostered, a freshly baked Pokémon egg can be obtained. Fire camel, yes, I have a child. In just 1 year, the ninja obtained 5 fire camels through foster care, directly filling up the Pokémon team's quota. If the Pokémons didn't have fines for having more than one child, this fire-breathing camel would bankrupt a family. Let's do it this way. How are you going to deal with Scorpio and Venusaur? Shago looked at Luasha with satisfaction and agreed with Luasha's proposal. There are enough Scorpios and Bulbasaur to form an elite unit, just like the Steelix unit. The village can hold a selection contest, and only the ninjas who pass the selection will be eligible to obtain Scorpios and Bulbasaur and become a member of the elite unit. Luosha put forward his own opinion that the quotas for the Steel Snake team were directly divided up by the Anbu ninjas. Because the leader of Steel Snake was Shago's spirit, Shago naturally gave all the quotas to his direct subordinates. Selection? How do you think it should be done? Shago asked curiously. The selection is divided into 2 rounds. In the first round, the ninjas will get along with Scorpio and Venusaur. As long as they get the approval of the Pokémons, they can pass. In the second round, ninjas will fight each other and the strongest 40 will be selected. Let's add a registration requirement. You must at least have the strength of an elite Chunin. After all, we are going to form an elite unit, and the ninja strength cannot fall behind. Luosha, I'll leave this matter to you. I'll let Ma Yuan assist you, and you'll have full command of the troops after they're formed. Segyu directly delegated power to Luosha, feeling that he could retire early and live a happy life with Nami. Thinking of the wonderful life in the future, Shago was in a good mood. Although Rasa is only 10 years old, he is already a famous strong man and the most popular hero in the Sand Village. Lord of the Sandstorm, named after sand, is an unprecedented honorary title in the Sand Village. This represents the recognition and admiration of all the Sand Village ninjas for Rasa. If Rasa was not too young, Shago would have already stepped down. Seigo, Onoki, why don't you retire at your age? Don't just sit there and do nothing. Give the young people more opportunities. Onoki, you win. Sarutobi Hiruzen, I'm leaving. I won't bother you anymore. Chapter 54, Good Fortune. On August 30th, the 8th year of Sand Village, the Sand Village selection competition was held as scheduled. A total of 12 Jonin, 105 special Jonin and 3,000 elite Chunins signed up for this selection competition. This was the first time that the Sand Village held a large-scale public recruitment for elite troops. Almost all the elite Chunins signed up. This was a huge opportunity for them. Dad, you're a Jonin, so it will be fine. In a corner, 4 middle-aged men were cheering an old man, each of them was followed by a Nido King or Nido Queen. They are the members of the Duo family, namely Duofu, Duoze, Duonyu, Duosun, and Duoer. Alas, if the difficulty of the elite Jonin examination hadn't been increased, I would have become an elite Jonin long ago. Duofu sighed, always feeling that he was very unlucky. A year ago, after Duofu's Nido King and Nido Queen reached the level of Jonin, Duofu immediately applied to become an elite Jonin. The very next day, the Sand Village meeting passed the resolution on raising the standards for ninja level assessment, and Duofu's application was rejected. Once the new resolution is made, in order to become an elite Jonin, at least one ninja or Pokémon must reach the level of an elite Jonin. People like Duofu, who have 3 Jonin level combat capabilities, were able to pass before, but now they can't. Duofur Kongshao, just 1 day left. If I had submitted the application 1 day earlier, I would have passed the assessment. Yi Jian may be GM. Dad, there are only 12 Jonins who signed up this time. You are a veteran Jonin. You can fight against elite Jonins with Nido King and Nidoha. There will be no problem. That's right, Dad, you will definitely be able to become one of the top 2 spirits and obtain the strength of an elite Jonin. Then you can apply to become an elite Jonin. Duoze and Dui talked to each other, trying their best to cheer up their old father. The children and grandchildren of the family hope that their fathers and grandfathers will become successful, and they all rely on Duofu to succeed and take them to success. Duojia has developed well in recent years. When the first batch of Pokémon were distributed that year, Duoze and Duodon received Nidorino and Nidorina respectively. These 2 Pokémon may have inherited the style of Duojia and gave birth to 3 Nidoran and 2 Nidoran. Duofu was overjoyed and decided to make the Nido clan the signature Pokémon of the family, so he went to the dry habitat and caught more than 10 Nidorinos and Nidorinas. Nowadays, many families have a Nido King and a Nido Queen, and many families also keep many Nidos in their yards. For some reason, the Nidos in the family are particularly fond of reproduction, and the frequency of laying Pokémon eggs is the highest in the Sand Village. Since Duofu couldn't raise the ninja clan, he gave the Pokémon eggs away. Relying on Nido's diplomacy, Duofu became famous and was promoted from a small ninja clan to a medium-sized ninja clan. Many companies focus on studying the Nido clan, and Duofu is already a recognized master of Nido research. From the fact that Duofu's Nido King and Nido Queen have both broken through to the level of Jonin, we can see that Duofu is really capable. Over the past 3 years, with the help of the Nidos, Duoze and Dui became Jonin, and Duosun and Dor became special Jonin. What many companies lack now is a strongest pillar. Many children and grandchildren, dad/grandpa, you must succeed. Listening to the encouragement from his children and grandchildren and looking at their expectant eyes, Duofu took a deep breath and went to participate in the first round of assessment. As a master of Pokémon research, Duofu passed the first level easily. The Pokémon that Duofu chose was Venusaur, because Venusaur is a grass-type and poison-type Pokémon. The Nido clan is a ground and poison-type Pokémon, and Duofu has done in-depth research on the poison type. Duofu sprinkled the poison he had prepared on the grass-type Pokémon cube and walked in front of the strongest Bulbasaur leader. The strange energy block successfully attracted the attention of the leader of the Bulbasaur. The leader of the Bulbasaur took a bite, and his eyes widened slightly, revealing a look of surprise. Then, he swept away the remaining Pokémon cubes like a whirlwind. The leader of the Bulbasaur looked at Duofu with satisfaction. He was quite strong, so he was put as one of the alternatives for the frog. Duofu breathed a sigh of relief after successfully passing the first level. It seemed that he was safe. The second level is a test of ninja strength. I have been a Jonin for more than 20 years. Is it possible that I can still fail? Yes, Duofu did not fail. After a week of fierce competition, Duofu easily defeated many opponents and won the first place in the selection. No reversal, ha 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 ha. The children and grandchildren of the families were even more excited than Duofu. When they saw Duofu win the championship, they all hugged each other with tears in their eyes. It wasn't easy. My father finally entered the upper echelons of the Sand Village at the age of 65, and the family finally got rid of the title of civilian ninja. Duozi, yeah, I hope my father can be successful, so I can be a scumbag. Duonu, I can finally have multiple husbands. I will go and marry 10 or 8 husbands and bring them home. Duo-sun, Grandpa succeeded, so am I also considered a third-generation official? I am finally qualified to pursue Zone Qiwa. Duo-er, Qiwa, it seems that our being together is destined by God. I will marry you when I go home. At this time, in the Zone family, Zone Qiwa was struck by lightning when she heard the news that Duofu had won the championship. She has been keeping those 2 liquors for so many years, and it seems like she is about to fall. Let's not talk about the ethical drama of the third generation of the family for now, let's turn the camera back to Duofu. At this time, Duofu was honored and conquered Bulbasaur, who had the strength of an elite Jonin, and became a direct subordinate of Rasa. Looking at the 10-year-old Luosha, Duofu decided to start taking good care of his body. He couldn't afford to die before the 4th generation took office. Duofu, I want to live to be 100 years old. The Bulbasaur troops are composed of 5 Jonin, 12 special Jonin, and 3 elite Chunin, and are led by Tadakuro. Through communication with Duofu, Luosha felt that he had struck treasure. Duofu took out a thick stack of information about the Nido clan to express his loyalty to Luosha, and said that the next research focus would be Bulbasaur, and hoped that Luosha could become a backer of the family. Duofu, I am a professional at hugging thighs. Duofu is a little old, but he is still strong. Luosha naturally accepted Duofu's surrender. The family was born in a commoner family and made a fortune by relying on the idea of having many children and more blessings. The foundation is still very clean. The Scorpion King force is composed of 5 Jonin, 10 special Jonin, and 5 elite Junins, with Orange Juro as the commander. Orange Juro is 32 years old this year. His strength is extremely outstanding among the Jonin and he belongs to the faction of civilian ninja. Luosha suspected that Cheng Juro was the work of Shagu, because Cheng Juro was Ming Ji's only disciple and was trained to be the future Kazekage staff officer. Cheng Juro speaks in a very refined tone, and his temperament is exactly the same as Ming Ji's, with a smart, and sinister, look. With the end of the selection, Luo Xie returned to his peaceful daily life. On the second day of the selection competition, Tatsufuku and Jiro applied to become elite jonin, and Shaku approved their applications. At one time, the doors of many families were trampled down by people. The big families sent people to congratulate, the small families sent people to make friends, and there was also Zone Qiwa. The girl knew that she couldn't just sit there and wait for death, so she went straight to the man's house and offered 2 betrothal gifts, wanting to marry Duo Sun and Duo Duo Niu looked at Zone Qiwa, this is a soulmate. But Duofu was staring at Zone Qiwa with a sullen face at this moment, so Duo gave up the idea of having a secret conversation with Zone Qiwa. Among the third generation of the family, only Duo Sun and Duo are talented, and Duofu is counting on them to give birth to a bunch of great-grandchildren to add to the family's wealth. Now there is a woman who wants to marry her 2 most beloved grandsons at the same time? Can this be tolerated? Duofu held back because the woman's surname was Zone. However, what made Duofu unable to hold back was that Duo Sun and Duo were so excited when they saw that the goddess was willing to marry him that they knelt on both sides of Zone Qiwa and shouted, "Please grant us your blessing, Grandpa." Chapter 55, Family Ethics Drama. Rebellious grandson, rebellious grandson. Duofu pointed at the 2 of them and fainted because he couldn't catch his breath. Father. Grandfather. Dad, you can't die. I have finally become the son of an official, and I haven't even married 10 or 8 husbands yet. Duo Niu was in tears and hugged Duofu and shook him violently. Dad, what will you do without Ji? I've finally been able to give up, it won't be impossible, right? Duozhe shook his head along with Duyi's rhythm. Grandpa, I won't get married. How can a goddess be as important as family background? Duo Sun suddenly panicked, and then his mind became clear. He immediately decided to choose his grandfather over his wife. Yes, 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 I won't get married either. I'm counting on you, Grandpa, to take care of me in my old age. Please don't really die. Duo made the same choice as Duo Sun. He finally became successful, but he wouldn't fall to his death before he could even take off, right? Zone Qiwa looked at Duo Sun and Duo in shock. These 2 bootlickers didn't want her anymore? How dare they do that? This fairy is as beautiful as a flower, born in a clan, and I have lowered myself to give alms to them, and they dared not to accept her? Duofu was about to vomit after being shaken by 4 people. He could not help but open his eyes and push the 4 people apart. Looking at the 4 descendants who had once held high hopes for him, Duofu felt only sadness in his heart. It's so embarrassing. I've had such a blessed life, from a commoner to the head of the ninja clan, and at the age of 65, I was promoted to the top of the sand village. How could I have such a useless offspring? At this time, Duofu deeply understood a truth, it is better to rely on himself than on his descendants. Duofu got up from the ground, picked up a feather duster, and began to educate these unfilial descendants. Oh, Grandpa, I was wrong. Ah, why did you hit me, Dad? Duo Niu wanted to cry but had no tears. Didn't she just want a few more men? Duo Niu felt that she was wronged. She had always been very loyal and liked the 18-year-old young wolf dog. It was rare to find a woman as loyal as her. Zone Qiwa naturally didn't run away, but she was beaten the worst. Duofu, how dare a girl from a side branch of the Zone family dance in front of me? I am the 4th generation of the clan. Do you have the guts to go find Zone Yu and argue with me? I will beat you to death. Ah, you dare to hit me. Zone Qiwa pointed at Duofu with disbelief on her face. She was the little fairy of the Zone family and no one had ever beaten her since she was a child. Hey, what's wrong with me hitting you? You dare to marry my 2 grandsons? I'll beat you to death today. Duofu was completely furious. He swung the feather duster and made Zone Qiwa scream. Duofu caught Zone Qiwa and beat her, while Duo Sun and Duo quickly hid in the corner and trembled. After seeing Zone Qiwa's miserable condition, Duo Niu immediately became content and no longer dared to marry 10 or 8 husbands. It seems that I can only marry 1 husband and keep a few more men outside. Duo Niu, sweeties, I'm sorry. I can't give you a name, but I will definitely treat you well and support you in the future. Duoze felt relieved. Looking at Duofu who was full of energy, he felt that he could still rely on him for many more years. The noise from several halls reached the back house, and Lala came out with a group of concubines. What are you arguing about? Will you let me have my beauty sleep? I'm old and my skin will be wrinkled if I don't have a nap, Lala shouted angrily. Duofu stopped what he was doing and immediately slid down to his knees in front of his wife. Lala was as beautiful as a flower when she was young, and she was also a famous genius in the Sand Village. Her strength has always been stronger than Duofu. The reason why Duofu was able to marry Lala was because they shared the same ideals. Duofu has always adhered to the concept of having many children and more blessings, while Lala simply wants to collect all the handsome men and beautiful women in the world for the sake of their looks. Handsome men and beautiful women have always been Lala's favorites, but she couldn't resist the rumors, so she didn't dare to do anything too extreme. It wasn't until Duofu appeared that Lala saw a bright future. Duofu is handsome, which suits Lala's taste. Duofu also likes to take concubines, each of whom is prettier than the other, satisfying Lala's stamp collecting needs. The key point is that everyone thinks Duofu has been taking concubines and is disrespectful to his wife, but no one knows how happy Lala is. Lala, not only is there no trouble from rumors, but I have married so many wives. Is there such a good thing in the world? Oh, you're disturbing me while playing mahjong. The beautiful lady in red said resentfully. That's right, where did this girl come from, and why did you beat her like this? The beauty in orange responded. Hey, how did she offend you? I haven't seen you so angry for a long time. The beauty in yellow leaned on Lala's shoulder and looked at Duofu curiously. Twitter. Everyone was talking at the same time, and Duofu didn't know who to answer first. Duofu reluctantly recounted what had happened, causing everyone to become furious. What? How dare this little jerk marry my two grandsons? That's right, don't you look at your own weight? Are you worthy of it? No way, this girl is quite capable to keep my grandson as a lapdog for fun. As a result, Zhong Qiwa faced a new round of beatings. A group of women surrounded Zhong Qiwa and beat her with punches and kicks. After one group finished beating her, the next group came up and continued beating her. Zhong Qiwa, hey, the lady in yellow, don't go too far. Didn't you just beat me up in the last batch? This time you mixed in the crowd and kicked me. Did you think I couldn't see it? Duofu, stop fighting, don't fight anymore. Zhong Qiwa's surname is Zhong after all, so she cannot cause any death. Duofu is desperately clinging to a bunch of wives. Zhong Qiwa was beaten up for the entire afternoon and was carried home. Zhong Qiwa really became Qiwa, so ugly that the little fairy's mentality collapsed. When Zhong Qiwa returned home, she cried and complained to her father, but that face of hers did not arouse any sympathy. Clan member A looked at his extremely ugly daughter and almost couldn't recognize her. Clan member A, ghost. After all, Zhang Grenjia loved his daughter so much that he gritted his teeth and ran to Zhong Yu to complain. My dear clan leader, many families rely on their numbers to bully us, an orphan girl and a widow. I am so miserable. Clan member A cried with snot, gasping for breath. Zhong Yu curled the corner of his mouth and sent Zhong Renjia out the door with a stiff face. In order to shut up the Zhong family, Duofu went to the newspaper to submit an article in person. The news about the family has spread throughout the Sand Village and is now the biggest news in the Sand Village. Zhong Qiwa married 2 men, which was incredibly brave. Jia Duo is now the rising star of Sand Village. Who gave her the courage? The key point is that the matter became more and more bizarre, with several versions coming out in just 2 days. The most outrageous version is that Zhong Qiwa was obsessed with a threesome with Duo and Duo Sun, and unsatisfied with her sexual desire, she came to them in person and had a fast and furious fight in front of Duofu. The Zhong family has lost all face because of this woman. Zhong Yu can now feel everyone's strange looks when he walks on the street. In addition to the big news about Zhong Qiwa, a group of beautiful girls from many other companies also made the headlines. Tafuku became the envy of all the men in Sunagakure, and Lala became the most perfect wife in the hearts of all men. It's really inspiring that a ninja clan was created with the efforts of one generation. Duofu's story was compiled into a storybook and became one of the must-read books for many ninja disciples. Ninja clan leader, look at him, he has built an entire family on his own, and then look at you, you are so useless. Shinobi, chief, how can you blame us? Shouldn't you lead by example? Ninja clan leader, I have worked hard for the development of my clan, why do you want to harm me? The ninja clan leader knelt on the washboard with tears streaming down his face. Didn't I want to set an example? I couldn't. The doorsteps of many families were knocked down again, but everyone who came asked why Duofu was able to marry so many wives and what his secret was. Duofu, what secrets are there? Lala was the one who brought us together. She was even more active than me. Everyone, impossible, this is impossible. Everyone racked their brains but couldn't figure out why Lala was so keen on finding a concubine for Duofu. Lala, what's that? If Duofu didn't dislike men, I could find him a bunch of husbands to take home. The only regret in Lala's heart is that she cannot collect stamps of a bunch of men in this life. Chapter 56. Ah, who is inspecting the juice shop again? Early in the morning at 9:59, Luo Sha climbed out of bed sleepily and found that Hu was gone. Manager Hu particularly enjoys going to work. With the popularity of Hu Juice Shop, Hu has changed from a socially anxious person to a socially powerful person. As long as he stays in the Sand Village, Hu spends every day in the juice shop, developing mixed juices. However, Hu always goes home to eat on time, unlike Saduk, who gets lost every day and requires the Anbu ninja to work overtime to find him. If Luo Sha hadn't assigned Saduk to the rainfall class, Saduk wouldn't have the star status it has today. By the way, what about Saduk? Luo Sha turned the quilt upside down but couldn't find Saduk. That doesn't make sense. Saduk usually doesn't get up until noon. Why is he getting up so early today? Luo Sha opened the window and the back garden came into view. Shakila closed her eyes and rested on the rockery, apparently digesting energy. Because he ate too much during the Kira period, the time it took to evolve into Banjira was extended. It is not good to be too fat when you are young, because it will make it difficult to grow up. Just like if a boy eats too much, his penis will be shortened. The giant rock monster was lying on the grass basking in the sun, while the dragon-headed mole and the giant metal monster were practicing against each other. Rayquaza was nestling in the big pool, and Saduk climbed onto Rayquaza's body with a swimming ring, used Rayquaza as a slide, and slid into the water. Ah! But Saduk pulled up Frog who was sitting quietly nearby, and the two little ones climbed onto Rayquaza's body together and paddled into the water. It's good that it's not lost. After finding Saduk, Luo Sha finally felt relieved and got up to wash. Gardvoir was sitting quietly on the sofa, reading the headlines of today's news. Gardvoir noticed that Rosa had woken up, so he stood up and walked to the kitchen, heated up his breakfast, poured a cup of warm milk, and walked to the dining table with the plates, placing them neatly. Another beautiful day began. After breakfast, Luo Sha took the Pokémons to the training ground. Luo Sha already has 14 Pokémon, 6 in the first team, 5 in the second team, and 3 legendary beasts, Rayquaza, Zapdos, and Tapu Mu. A team of Pokémons is the main force, and they are responsible for the 6 positions of the auto-attack system. However, after obtaining Rayquaza, Luo Sha put Hu in the AFK position. After all, the support can bear with it for a while and eat less economic benefits. In Team 2, Gardvoir is the housekeeper, Jengar is the personal bodyguard, Frog is in charge of the Rainfall squad, but Saduk is the fool, and there is Frog that has just passed its larval stage. Frog has had the demeanor of a ninja since he was young, and Luo Sha has been thinking about how to let Frog practice chakra and master the sage mode. Among the legendary beasts, Rayquaza has become Rosa's favorite. Before Shakira evolves, Rayquaza's position is unshakable. The Zapdos is managed in a free-range manner and only needs to stay in the land of birds to protect the Sunagakure Village. Tapu Mu creates farmland for the Sand Village every day. As the Pokémon of the land god, Tapu Mu has a very stable personality and Raza doesn't need to worry about him. When Luo Sha arrived at the training ground, Shiro had already started training with Kai Punch Lang, Chickadee, and Ryalu. The 3 pets were sweating profusely, and it was obvious that they had been training for quite some time. Yekeng Zheng and Zonya were fighting, but Yekeng was attacking and Zonya was defending. Ever since Suya became the 7 Tails Jinchuriki, he has completely stood up, and Yekeng is no match for Suya at all. At this time, Suya was acting as a meat shield to help Yekeng develop new ninjutsu and was constantly feeding Yekeng with moves. Yekeng is very competitive and tries hard to catch up with Suya and Raza. For this purpose, he pulls Pakura out of the bed and develops Scorch Release together with him. Pakula, how could a 90-year-old man be treated like this? Where is justice? Pakula wanted to pretend to be dead, but for the future of his disciple, he revives with full blood and jumps up from the bed to help Yekeng. However, after being discovered by his children and grandchildren, Pakula began to pretend to be sick again. Pakula, no, I can't let the days of having everything provided for me end. How can my apprentice be as important as me? Hey, son, come back soon, I'm almost dying again. Oh, "You unfilial son, if you don't come back, I will let the newspaper expose your abuse of your 90-year-old father." At this time, Garuru was standing aside watching the fight, with two werewolves hugging each other. Luo Sha's werewolf has Luo Sha's style. He is cool in daily life, handsome in fighting, and has known how to kidnap his wife since he was a child. I go to Carula's house every day and communicate with Carula's werewolf. Carula was very happy that Luosha's werewolf came to visit him every day, as if he saw himself and Luosha in love. Gaddis never expected that his daughter was abducted by a yellow-haired boy when she was young, and his daughter's Pokémon was also abducted by a yellow-haired Pokémon when she was young. The key point is that the yellow-haired guy is in the same group. Gadex, how can I fix it? It's really too much. Master Feng Ying, please judge, these two Pokémons are always in my house, it's too much. You have to control Luosha. Shagu, what did you say? I can't hear you. Can you say it again? Caltex. Carula noticed Luosha's arrival, waved and greeted him happily, then ran over and hugged Luosha's arm. Carula's inner villain is praising his heart, it's another day when I can see Rasa-kun. Luosha smiled and exchanged a few words with Carula, then turned his attention to the battle. Yakang's attacks became more and more fierce, but he still couldn't break Suya's red iron shield. After some boxing and kicking, Yakang turned around and moved away, quickly forming seals with her hands, and then a huge red light flashed from her hands, turning into a firebird and rushing straight towards Zonyue. The firebird streaked across the sky like a meteor and swooped straight towards the huge red iron shield. In an instant, all you could hear was a continuous hissing sound, as if millions of tiny needles were piercing into metal at the same time. At the same time, a strong smell of burning quickly spread, the smell was hot and pungent. The firebird gradually dissipated, leaving a charred spot on the red iron shield, which was still emitting black smoke. Yakang, the attack power of this move is enough to break through the defensive ninjutsu of the senior ninja. Suya said in surprise. Yakang's new ninjutsu was successfully developed. At this moment, the shield suddenly burst out with a dazzling red light, the sparks gradually grew larger, and finally gathered into the shadow of a firebird. Sparks flew, the light was dazzling, and the whole space was shrouded in hot energy. 3 seconds later, the figure of the firebird suddenly disappeared, turning into sparks that drifted away. And the powerful attack force also disappeared, as if nothing had happened. Hiss, there is actually a delayed attack. Zonja took a breath and made a contribution to global warming. Awesome! Yakang, this move has definitely reached the threshold of S-level ninjutsu. Luosha looked at Yakang. She was worthy of being the woman in the original work who could become a cage-level powerhouse even though the Sand Village was so weak. Yakang smiled delightedly when he heard Luosha's praise. This move was researched by my master and I. It's called Burning Escape, Nirvana. Now it's finally a success. With this move, Yakang has already stepped half a foot into the threshold of Elite Jonin. As long as the chakra amount can keep up, he will definitely be an Elite Jonin. In the future, with the in-depth development of the changes in the nature of Scorch release, it will be easy to reach the cage level. Your main focus next is to refine chakra, and you can practice another perception ninjutsu and defensive ninjutsu. Luosha reminded that Yakang is a typical ninjutsu type ninja with high attack and fragile skin. No problem, I'll go tell master the good news first. Yakang rushed to Pakura's bed and shared his experience with the new ninjutsu. Upon hearing that the new ninjutsu had reached the S-level rating, Pakura fainted with excitement. Master! Master, what's wrong with you? Please don't scare me. Yakang suddenly panicked and kept shaking Pakula. Wouldn't he die from excessive surprise? I didn't do anything, so I won't be labeled as the master killer, right? When Yakang thought of this, he immediately carried Pakula on his back and ran to the hospital in a hurry. Hey, disciple Yakang, stop now. I'm fine, I was just pretending. Pakula's hair was sparse, and when Yakang carried him on his back at such a high speed, his hair fell out in the wind. Ah, the only 12 hairs I have left. Touching the 3 hairs on his head, Pakula sat on the ground and burst into tears. 9 of them fell off in just 1 minute. Master, stop crying. How about I go buy you a wig? No, wigs have no soul. Go back and find where my 9 hairs fell. The 2 of them searched for hair on the road for a whole day and finally found 8 strands. Pakula, I'm dying. I've been taking care of my hair for 30 years. It's my lifeblood. Luosha, who was passing by, saw the old man crying so miserably and couldn't help singing, "Snowflakes are falling, the north wind is howling, and the world is so vast and desolate." Pakula stopped talking immediately and looked up at Luo Shat. "Ahem, I'm leaving now. I won't bother you anymore." Watching Luo Shat walk away, Pakula looked at Yekeng, who was standing beside him with no hope in life. Wow wow wow, my hair! Chapter 57. On September 30th, the 9th year of Sunagakure, Cho led her army back in triumph. The war entered a silent period, and the 5 major ninja villages are now in a stage of small-scale friction. Cho, who has stayed in the rain country for another month, missed her idle life and simply returned to the court. Seeing the sand village withdraw its troops, Konoha was overjoyed. Now all it had to do was guard against the cloud village and the mist village. Cho, whether to fight or not, people who stay in the dark and damp place of the rain country are almost moldy. I have to hold an umbrella every time I go fishing, it's so annoying. The first thing Cho did when she returned to the village was to take her fishing gear and go to the small lake. "Hey, what kind of Pokemon is this?" Cho took out the Pokémon book and pointed it at the big guy sleeping by the lake. "Kabaiman." It was obviously difficult to wake up Snorlax, so Cho simply put a small stool next to Snorlax, sat down and started fishing. This familiar feeling, comfortable. Snoring, snoring. Hearing the snoring sound, Cho turned her head and looked at the bubbles on Snorlax's nose, and its round fleshy face and body. It was so cute that she couldn't bear to touch it. After thinking about it, Cho took out the empty Pokeball and threw it directly at Snorlax. The Pokeball shook and a ding sound was heard. Actually succeeded in conquering him? Cho was shocked after trying it casually, and was at a loss when picking up the Pokeball. Do I really want to raise one? I only have so little money, and I have to prepare a betrothal gift for Scorpion in the future. Cho doesn't go on ninja missions, and receives a meager salary from the village, so she isn't very wealthy. Especially now that I am only a consultant, I used to receive 3 salaries, but now I only receive 1. After thinking for a moment, Cho decided to accept Snorlax. As for Scorpion's betrothal gift, I definitely can't save it up, so I can only trouble Ebizo to make more efforts. Putting all the pressure on Ebizo, Cho continued fishing happily. At this time, Ebizo was working overtime in the interrogation department, interrogating batch after batch, but he did not feel tired at all, but rather full of energy. Because the crystal lamp spirit told him that it felt the bottleneck of the shadow level. "Ebizo, sister, just wait and see, your little brother, am going to become a cage level strong man too, don't even think about bullying me in the future, In the evening, Cho put away her fishing rod and looked at Slowking beside her. King Dai Dai understood what he meant and used his mental power to catch 2 big fish and put them in the bucket. Cho went home with the 2 fish in satisfaction. "I caught 2 today, pretty lucky." On the way back, Cho discovered that a strange Pokemon had approached her, whom she had never seen in the oasis before. Cho looked at Leafian, a grass-type creature, which meant it was easy to feed. She is cute, meets the aesthetic standards, and is very pleasing to the eye. The more Cho looks at her, the more satisfied she is. "Leafian, Luasha didn't lie to me. I can really wait for a heroine with cage-level strength on this road. I'm happy." Cho easily put the Leafian into the ball. "Cho, the Snorlax and Leafian we captured today are both elite Jonin. This is really rare." King Slow sent a message to Cho to make his presence felt. Indeed, it must be the work of Luo Shakid. Ebizo didn't know that in just one day, the gap between him and his sister had widened. Both Eevee and Snorlax already have trainers, but most of the time they are kept in the oasis. The only 2 that there is no ninja to subdue are Chief Snorlax and Chief Eevee. Snorlax wants to find a cage-level trainer, and Leafian wants to find a powerful female trainer. Chief Snorlax has no dreams. What's the difference between Snorlax and salted fish? Cho is the only suitable person for the sand village. Today, Snorlax and Leafian felt the shadow level fluctuations in Slowking, so they took the initiative to find Cho. Fortunately, Cho followed the script and subdued them both. The 2 Pokemon who finally found their owner breathed a sigh of relief, especially Snorlax, who felt embarrassed to eat the public food he ate all day long. I can only say that this is all the best arrangement. The author's arrangement. Scorpion, Grandma is back. Cho walked in happily, only to find the house empty. Why is there no one here? Do I have to cook dinner for myself? Kitchen Killer Cho looked at the fish in the bucket, thought for a moment, and ran to the interrogation department to get Ebizo's lunchbox. Anyway, Ebizo was often so busy that he forgot to eat, so Cho felt at ease taking it. The ninjas from the interrogation department looked at Cho and obediently sold out their minister. This is the strongest female ninja today, and she is also the minister's sister. She will be scolded even if the minister comes. Ebizo, whose dinner had been eaten, was still in the dark and knew nothing about it. Syat, where have you been? Grandma missed you so much. Seeing Scorpion returning home, Cho immediately stepped forward and hugged her lovely grandson. I'm at Brother Luosha's house today, assembling puppets and attending classes. Attend class? Yes, learn the will of wind and the will of sand. Nanny. Cho was confused. What was this new thing? After a conversation with Scorpion, Cho was sad to find that the person her grandson admired had changed from his grandmother to his brother. Something seems wrong? Cho held Scorpion and looked left and right. It seemed that my grandson had also been kidnapped. This boy Luosha has something. No wonder Zone Yu and Caltex had such a good time before, together. Scorpion has always been very smart and independent, but unexpectedly he was brainwashed by Rasa. Cho decided to brainwash Scorpion back. Cho was full of confidence, Cho became more and more desperate, and Cho became autistic. Grandma, you don't understand. Wherever the sand is flying, the wind is also blowing. The wind will eventually blow away the old sand, but it will also bring new sand. Cho really didn't understand. The only one who could understand was the 5 good youth. But what the hell is Aira sand? Looking at the 3-year-old grandson in front of her, Cho fell silent. Cho decided to go all out and took Scorpion to Rosa's house and handed Scorpion to Rosa. Luosha, from now on, Scorpion will be in your hands. Take good care of him and send him back to stay for 2 days every weekend. Grandma Cho, this is not good, right? Being stared at by Cho with strange eyes, Luosha always felt a chill on his back. No, I think it's great. I'll send him back every weekend to learn puppetry, and he'll live with you during the week so we can develop a good relationship. After saying that, Cho turned and left. Luosha and Sasori stared at each other in confusion. Cho returned home, took out a cup of tea, poured in the aphrodisiac, and went to Jiao's room. You've worked hard all day, you must be tired, come and have some tea. Cho poured 2 cups of tea with a smile and handed them to Jiao and Lien. Faced with their mother's concern, although the two felt something was wrong, they still drank the tea without any doubt. Along with the sound of the door closing, a blushing voice was heard in the room. Cho smiled with satisfaction. I can't count on the eldest grandson anymore. I can only count on the second grandson. Cho felt that she was so wise, and it was rare to find a grandmother as open-minded as me. Cho didn't know that she had made a complete misunderstanding and sold out her good grandson with one move, making her the best grandmother of the century. Chapter 58, Shikaku returns. Cho happily went to the kitchen and threw the 2 big fish into the pot. It was a rare opportunity for her to cook. Cho put a bunch of unidentified objects into her lunchbox and went to Ebizo's house next door. Ebizo worked overtime again today and just got home. He didn't know who had stolen his dinner, and his subordinates knew nothing about it when they asked him. After a hard day's work, Ebizo didn't bother to care about it, and just went home to cook a bowl of noodles to get by. Hearing the knock on the door and Chiyo's familiar good brother, sister is here to see you, Ebizo couldn't help but shiver. There is murderous intent. No, the danger alarm went off. Ebizo opened the door with a sullen look on his face and welcomed Cho in. Seeing the familiar lunchbox that I hadn't seen for a long time, my memories were suddenly evoked. Sister, I've already finished dinner, how can I eat more? Ebizo showed a smile that was uglier than crying, but his heart was already in tears. You've eaten? How is that possible? I clearly ate your lunchbox tonight. Can you still go to the restaurant to eat? The evil stars of the interrogation department are hated by everyone when they walk on the street. As long as there are ninjas from the interrogation department on the street, the whole street will be empty. All passers-by hid on both sides, and all shops closed their doors and hung up closed signs, for fear that if they hung up the signs too late, they would invite bad luck in. The gloomy faces and hellish laughter of the evil stars are enough to scare people to death just by looking at them. The head of the interrogation department, Ebizo, is the most notorious person in the Sand Village and is known as the living king of hell. Ebizo is accompanied by a will-o'-the-wisp lantern. Together with his pet, they are the most perverted people in the interrogation department. The spies from other ninja villages are most afraid of the Sand Village. It is said that the spies who entered the Sunagakure interrogation department were extremely miserable. They lost all their energy and spirit within a day and only hoped to die early and transcend. Even the people of the Sand Village are afraid, let alone those from other ninja villages. Well, sister, I actually have a very good reputation. Feng Ying even awarded me the title of active worker. You mean no villagers dared to come to the award ceremony? That's because everyone is busy. There are still many ninjas who come to support us. Why do I remember that all the ninjas here are your subordinates? You're talking nonsense. There are Pokémons here, and quite a few of them are here to support me. The rows of coffins and eyes. Ebez, destroy it, I'm tired. Under Chiyo's gaze, Ebezo finished eating Chiyo's dark cuisine with tears in his eyes. Ebezo's world of being hurt alone was achieved. Master, I'm coming in. Luo Shan knocked on the door. When he heard no strange sound, he walked into Feng Ying's office with confidence. Luo Sha, you don't want to leave the village again, do you? The master said that you are still young, so you should hone your skills in the village for 2 years first. Shagu said while processing documents. No, I want to ask how Shikaku is doing now. Raza sat on the chair, picked up the apple from the fruit bowl and took a bite. Hey? Shikaku? What is that? Shagu was unable to wrap his head around it for a moment, and a long-forgotten memory suddenly flashed back to him. Oh, that foul-mouthed raccoon cat. Of course it's still sealed. Shagu remembered that he seemed to have promised Fuku to release Shikaku. How long had it been? You said at the time that you would lock Shikaku in a small dark room for 10 days or half a month, and then let him out to talk. This unreliable father, now that he has a cage-level Pokémon, he no longer cares about Shikaku. Once upon a time, Shikaku was the only one in the Sand Village and was treated as a treasure by the villagers. The Sand Village spent all day thinking about how to strengthen the seal to keep Shikaku's body. Sand Village, if I can't have your heart, I want your body too. Shikaku, a forced melon is not sweet. Sand Village, but it quenches your thirst. Shikaku, I hate you. Now, Shikaku is an inconspicuous little raccoon cat in the Sand Village. After being locked up for a long time, he has been forgotten. Shikaku, my family members shed tears, a cat trapped in a peaceful place was bullied. I definitely didn't say that, Luo Sha. You must have heard it wrong. I clearly said to lock it up for a few years to temper it before releasing it. How could Shagu admit his mistake? The wise Kazekage is always busy, so isn't it normal for him to forget some small things? Now Shagu not only has a lot of official duties, but he also has a secretary by his side, so he is even busier. Oh, so when are we going to release Shikaku? After eating an apple, Luo Sha picked up a pear and started eating it. Well, let's go now and see how Shikaku's confession is going. Seigyu stood up, put on the Kazekage's hat and went to meet Shikaku, whom he hadn't seen for a year, to reminisce about the past. At this time, Shikaku stared with dead eyes, his eyes were lifeless, and he lay on the ground in the small dark room in a big letter shape, motionless, like a stone sculpture. The chatterbox cat talked to himself in a small dark room for a month, and then began to go steadily crazy. I went crazy for a month and started to become autistic. After being autistic for a month, he started to go crazy again. This cycle repeats itself, and Shikaku is in a state of autism this month. Shikaku felt that every day was like a year and he felt that he had spent more than 300 years alone. Feeling the vibration of the seal, Shikaku's calm eyes moved. The long-lost light shone in from the gap in the seal, illuminating the fat raccoon's face. Shikaku didn't react for a moment and lay on the ground in a daze. Then he immediately stood up and ran towards the gap in the seal with tears in his eyes. In the outside world, a piece of chakra emerged and condensed into the figure of Shikaku. It is still the same raccoon cat as before, but this time Shikaku is not big, it has transformed into a mini version. Wow, monk, you're not dead yet. I thought you were going to die, and I was going to replace you with a Jinchuriki before letting me out. When Shikaku opened his mouth, he was still asking for trouble as usual, but this time he seemed to have a hint of grievance. Look at how they locked up the children. Even the 1000-year-old raccoon cat feels wronged. In the future, Kurama was split into two. If Shikaku didn't have too little chakra, he would probably have enjoyed the same treatment as Kurama. After Shikaku finished speaking, he immediately looked at Shaku, the dead human who had locked him up in a small dark room. Well, it seems the transformation is working well. Shaku looked at Shikako with satisfaction. He should be willing to obey the arrangements of the Sand Village. Humph, you stinky human, call me when you need a fight, don't bother me at other times. Shikako moved awkwardly and quietly moved behind Fenfuku. However, no matter how carefully Shikako moved, he was still very conspicuous. His chubby legs moved in small steps, which was really a big conspicuous bag. Don't worry, as long as you are willing to serve, the Sand Village will not treat you unfairly. We will leave a gap in the seal for you in the future, but if you riot, Shagu pretended not to see Shikako's little movements. I know. I'm not that free. There is no point in rioting, you won't be able to win and you will be held accountable later. Shikako was in tears, thinking that he was probably the worst off-tailed beast. The other tailed beasts were all worshipped, but this one was either being beaten or locked up in a small dark room. Damn Chongming, why is it treated so well while I am doing so miserably? Chongming, thank you for the invitation. Lie down and don't disturb me. Chapter 59, Tool Man Shikaku, Bangala. Shikaku, let me borrow some chakra from you. Rasa looked at the little raccoon cat and decided to do an experiment. Rayquaza can absorb Dragon Vein chakra because, as a dragon-type Pokémon, it is in tune with the dragon veins. So, what about Shikaku's chakra? Shikaku is the tailed beast representing the desert. Can rock-type and ground-type Pokémon absorb Shikaku's chakra? With the power of Changpan, Luo Sha decided to give it a try. How much do you want? Shikaku looked at Rasa warily. As a one-tailed fox, it did not have much chakra and relied entirely on its erudition to maintain its appearance. In order to not be weaker than the other tailed beasts, it not only created the magnetic escape technique, but also learned sealing techniques and wind escape technique. Its combat power is enough to rank among the top among the tailed beasts. Shikaku believes that he is only weaker than the 9 tails, and the 8 tails is no match for him. Anyway, they haven't really fought each other, so no one would refute it if it said it was stronger than the 8 tails. You said Yaoi is stronger than me? Evidence, where is the evidence? There is no evidence. I, Shikaku, am the second largest beast among the tailed beasts. I can defeat that stupid fox Kurama with my intelligence. Shikaku feels good about himself because of his kidney deficiency, but it is precisely because of his deficiency that he is so vigilant. Just a few 100 million. Luo Sha made a gesture of losing the Korean market, trying to make himself convincing. Humph, little brat, I'll give it to you generously. What do you want to do with it? Shikaku looked up proudly. Shakira, you try it first. Rasa released Shakira from the pokeball, and Shakira jumped calmly in front of Shikaku. Shikaku, release a little bit of chakra first, maybe as much as the Koreans would release. As a bit of chakra was absorbed by Shakira, Shakira did not have any adverse reactions. Shikaku slowly increased his strength, causing Shakira to frown and signs of petrification appearing on his calves. Rosa immediately released the power of Changpan to stabilize the natural energy running wild in Shakira's body, and the petrification gradually disappeared. Just use this strength, it's just right. Rasa continued to release the power of Tokiwa as a lubricant between natural energy and chakra. It turns out that it's still the Koreans' problem. Even the Pokemons couldn't feel that little bit of chakra. Shagu stood aside and watched the scene curiously. The flame chicken beside him looked at Shikaku with fiery eyes, his eyes full of desire. Shikaku Kikyuka felt a chill on her back. Hey, kid, we clearly agreed to only lend you a little bit. Shikaku felt that 2.5% of his chakra had been consumed, and his tone was quite aggrieved. Well, yes, just a little bit. Wait until the chakra and natural energy in Shakira's body are balanced. Luo Sha shamelessly lied without blushing or beating his heart. An hour later, the expression on Shikaku's face had changed. If Shikaku hadn't known that Shakira might lose her life if he stopped transmitting chakra now, he would have quit long ago. Shikaku's chakra has been consumed by 70%, and it is almost unable to breathe due to the pain. But it is a beast that cares about its reputation, just as it never wants to admit that it is the tailed beast with the least chakra. Shikaku never uses the tailed beast ball because it can only shoot 3 times. Once it has shot 3 times, its true identity will be known to others. It will solidify its title as the weakest tailed beast. At this moment, it gritted its teeth and went forward. Could it be that my chakra was not enough to fill this guy's body? I am a tailed beast. The natural energy and chakra in Shakira's body gradually became equal, a burst of white light emerged from Shakira and Rasa, and Shikaku stopped transmitting. It worked. Luo Sha was already exhausted at this time, but he couldn't hide the smile on his face. The white light lasted for 10 seconds, and a majestic Pokémon came into everyone's sight. Bangala's skin is like emerald armor, and his limbs are strong and powerful. There are spikes of varying sizes growing on the back of its head, neck, and shoulders, and there is a circle of spikes at the end of its tail. There are 2 triangular black scales on each side of its chest, in the middle of its back and at its knees, while there are diamond-shaped grey scales in the middle of its abdomen and on its back, which sparkle in the sun and emit a charming luster. My son has grown up. From Luo Sha's perspective, Bangla is so cool. Name Banjira. Gender male. Attributes rock, evil. Characteristics sand hidden. Level LV66, Elite Jonin. Individual 6V. Skills Sage Mode, Dragon Dance, Destruction Ray, Ultimate Impact, Sandstorm. With the combined effect of Shikaku's chakra and the originally stored energy, Banjira was promoted by 10 levels. Class. Bangala excitedly pounded his chest with his hands. He finally stood up. Physically. Thank you, Shikaku. Rasa patted Banjira's solid armor and thanked Shikaku. It's a small matter. Shikaku pretended to be calm. He absolutely couldn't let anyone see through his true colors. Well, how about strengthening my Blaziken as well? Facing Blaziken's fiery gaze, Shagu asked. Shikaku. Master, my Viridian power has run out. How about trying again in 2 days? Enflamed Chicken may not be able to absorb Shikaku's chakra. Okay, let's come back the day after tomorrow. Shagu said regretfully. Shikaku, I haven't agreed yet. Shikaku felt wronged, but he didn't dare to say it. He wanted to cry. This is too much, I. Shikaku finally lost his composure and immediately turned into chakra and returned to the seal, secretly wiping away his tears. I'm so stupid, really. I should have thought of it earlier, Wivuwu. Shikaku began to cry, and sand fell. Outside, looking at Shikaku's disappearing figure, Rasa and Sako looked at each other in bewilderment. Shikaku is on strike. I really didn't expect that the fat civet cat had such kidney deficiency, Luo Sha and Shagu thought at the same time. It seems that we have to worship Shikaku from now on, as it is the great treasure of Sunagakure. If Shikaku disappears, there will be no Pokémon in Sunagakure that can enter Sage Mode in the future. Shikaku's status is up. After Bangala returned, he fought with Rayquaza. Ban. Rayquaza, let's fight for our greatest honor. Bangala releases a sandstorm at the beginning, gaining greater power in the desert. However, the sandstorm had no effect on Rayquaza. While Benji was pulling away the sandstorm, Rayquaza performed the dragon dance. The sharp stone attack collided with the dragon's wave, making a violent roar. Bangla and Rayquaza were sniping at the middle gate, evenly matched. Bangala immediately ran towards Rayquaza, ready for close combat. Rayquaza did not fly away, but rushed towards Banjira at great speed. This is a battle of honor for the country, and it must not back down. The cunning Banjira didn't use his own skills, but instead used a 3-hit combo of Freezing Fang, Freezing Fist, and Freezing Wind. Rayquaza almost couldn't keep his balance and was blown away. Rayquaza, that's how we play it, hey? Liakongzuo roared, raised his little paw and started to chop the tiles, smashing them straight towards Banjira's head. Bangala took a few steps back in a daze, leaving a stick-shaped red mark on his face. Rayquaza didn't give Banjira a chance to react. He condensed a chi bullet from his mouth, intending to teach his little brother a lesson. The stars in front of Bangala's eyes had not disappeared yet, but he instinctively sensed the coming of the crisis and used his defense to block the chi bomb. Next, Rayquaza continuously released Solar Beam, Water Cannon and Tile Splitting, while Bangala used a 3-hit combo of freezing attacks. The two sides fought back and forth, and every move was deadly. The two wounded Pokémons finally separated, stood facing each other, and looked at each other affectionately. The old class leader was finally defeated and fell down first, while Liakong took over the position of the leader. Luo Sha had just finished drinking a glass of juice. He walked forward and used the power of Evergreen to heal the two Pokémons. After waking up, Banjira was visibly depressed. Not only did he fail to regain his position as the boss, he was also bullied by Long again. Bangala was so upset that he went to Somi's house to complain to Boscodora. In the end, Banjara happily left Suya's house, leaving behind a sad Boscodora. Boscodora was so upset that he went to Suya to complain. In the end, Boscodora finally regained his confidence, and Chabeo Zanja burst into tears. Zanja, it's so hard for me. Which handsome guy is on the picture? Chapter 60. New Discovery, the prototype of the Holy Land. 2 days later, Rasa and Seigo came to Shikaku again. While basking in the sun, Shikaku suddenly got startled and his face immediately fell. Hey, you guys are going too far. I won't do this anymore. Hey, Shikaku, the Nine Tails is in Konoha, and you are in Sunagakure. If Sunagakure defeats Konoha with your help, isn't it the same as you defeating the Nine Tails? Luasha continued to deceive. When the time comes, we will help you defeat the Nine Tails, and you will be the well-deserved first-tailed beast. Ha! Shikaku said he didn't believe a word of it. It was deceived by Rasa 2 days ago. Shikaku, you can go anywhere in the Sand Village from now on. If you want to leave the village, there will be no problem after applying. You can propose any conditions you want. Seigyo chimed in, saying that it was unexpected that he could be so friendly to Shikaku. It is true that things in this world are unpredictable and everything changes. Freedom, I want freedom. I was just basking in the sun in the desert when I was captured by the first Kazekage. Shikaku is unhappy and feels wronged. You know this is impossible, especially since you can help the Pokémons become stronger, it is even more impossible for us to let you go. Shagu looked at Shikaku calmly. Sunagakure can promise that after Bonfu passes away, we will not find the next generation of Jinchuriki for you. But you must join the Sunagakure village forever until the day the Sunagakure village is destroyed. Luo Sha spoke to ease the tense atmosphere and proposed a compromise solution. It's fine to bask in the sun in the sand village, right? Besides, the Pokémons are grateful. You help those Pokémons become stronger, so you can be considered their teacher. By then, you will have a lofty status in Sunagakure, and everyone who sees you will have to call you Shikaku-sensei. Luo Sha began to reason and appeal to emotion. Shikaku didn't show it on his face, but he was actually moved. Being able to walk freely outside is better than being trapped next to the Jinchuriki all the time. Besides, Shikaku-sensei, hehe, what a name that would make a raccoon cat excited. But who is Shikaku? It is a majestic beast, how can it be bribed so easily? Doesn't it have any dignity? The damn third Kazekage had beaten it so many times that it decided to show off a bit and take advantage of the 2 humans in front of it. Shikaku, you don't want to be locked up in a small dark room forever, do you? Shagu agreed with Rasa's plan, so he started to sing a different tune, prompting Shikaku to agree. Shikaku. Okay, I'll do as you say. Shikaku agreed with gritted teeth. The 2 men and 1 beast started the experiment of Sage Mode again, and there was no doubt that Flamingo failed. As soon as Shikaku's chakra entered Flame Chicken's body, Flame Chicken knelt on one knee in pain, and its arm showed signs of petrification. Shikaku immediately stopped the transmission, and Rasa used the power of Tokiwa to fuse with the chakra in Flame's body, channeling the energy out and successfully healing Flame. Contestant number 2 is Shagu's fire-breathing camel. But what Luo Sha didn't expect was that he failed again this time. The fire-breathing camel only lasted 2.5 minutes. Is it possible that the ground attribute cannot absorb Shikaku's chakra? So Shikaku tried to transfer chakra to the third contestant, the dragon-head hamster. After an hour of output, the dragon-head hamster succeeded. Name dragon-head hamster. Gender male. Attributes steel, ground. Features power of sand. Level LV59, Jounin. Individual 5V. Skills Sage Mode, High Speed Rotation, Metal Claws, Rock Collapse, Digging, Earthquake, Ground Fissure, Sword Dance. The Dragonhead Rat was upgraded by 5 levels, becoming the second main force of the Sandstorm team. He will finally have more roles in the future. Dragonhead Rat, after playing the cannon fodder for 60 chapters, I can finally play a supporting role. The dragon-headed gopher excitedly raised its paw, made a gopher sound, then dug a tunnel home and went back to show off to his friends. The success of Diglett shows that ground attribute Pokémon can also accept Shikaku's chakra, so the problem lies somewhere else. After several days of experiments, Luo Sha came to a rough conclusion. 3. It is difficult for Pokémon below V to absorb Shikaku's chakra. Once the chakra enters the body, they will begin to show symptoms of petrification, making it almost impossible for them to learn the Sage Mode. 3. Even for Pokémons above V, success cannot be guaranteed. The Pokémon's own willpower and chakra compatibility will also affect the Pokémon's absorption of chakra. 3. Shikaku chakra is only effective against rock-type and ground-type Pokémon. Sure enough, there is a threshold to learning Sage Mode. However, with Rosa's evergreen power, it is much easier for Pokémons to learn Sage Mode than for humans. Even if he fails, Luosha can be saved. Rasa has found a way to allow Pokémons to enter Sage Mode. The Tailed Beast. The status of the Tailed Beasts has skyrocketed, and it seems that the future Akatsuki organization still needs to appear. Nagato, when you grow up, you will still be needed to go back and carry rice. Gengui, I have a task for you. Luosha called out to the shadow, and a Jengar wearing sunglasses floated out from the shadow. G. Go give Nagato acting lessons and teach him a lesson. A bag of rice has to carry several floors, feel the pain, Luosha said with a serious face. One bag of rice has to carry the second floor, think about the pain, Luosha's sad face. A bag of rice is so painful, accept the pain, Luosha said with an angry face. A bag of rice is so tiring, I understand the pain, Luosha's literary face. There's mud in your mouth, who will give you a bag of rice? Let the world feel pain from now on, Luosha has a crazy face. The best actor Rosa gave Jengar a little acting shock, and Jengar's young and fragile heart was severely impacted. Do you understand? You just need to train Nagato to this level. G. Guarantee to complete the task. Gengui saluted in military posture and left happily to find Nagato. Jengar, Nagato, the teacher is here. The Akatsuki organization still has to show up. After all, Luosha has even prepared Akatsuki's equipment in advance, and it can't be wasted. The goal of Akatsuki is still to seize the Tailed Beast, but it is no longer for the Moon Eye Project or to save the Old Mother. Instead, they created the Holy Land of Pokémons. As the existence that will maintain permanent peace in the ninja world in the future, the Holy Land of Pokémons will constantly suppress the ninja world with its absolute strength, making humans dare not start a war again. At the same time, the Holy Land of Pokémon can also deter those who want to study Pokémon and wonder whether they can bear the wrath of God. The Sand Village currently allows 5 types of Pokémon to learn Sage Mode. Lulin's Dragon Vein Chakra corresponds to Dragon-type Pokémon, Shikaku's Chakra corresponds to Ground-type and Rock-type Pokémon, and Kongming's Chakra corresponds to Bug-type and Flying-type Pokémon. Luosha now likes Shikaku more and more. This raccoon cat is so fat and cute. Shikaku is really a blessing to him. From now on, let Shikaku be the supreme elder of the Rock-type Holy Land and the Ground-type Holy Land. The 9-tailed beasts are arranged like this. In the future, the Holy Land Pokémons will take care of them in their old age. I believe no one will dare to catch them. For some unspeakable reasons, Shikaku started to guide 2 people at a time. Thanks to Shikaku's efforts, Rosa's team of Pokémon successfully learned the Sage Mode, and their average level increased by 5 levels. LV66, LV59, LV58, LV59, LV59, LV57. Suya's Askdare and Steelix were also successfully upgraded, reaching LV49 and LV47 respectively. LV47, LV43, LV43, LV42, LV41. Carula himself possesses the strength of an elite Chunin, and can now fight against Jonin without losing. And Yekang. The inspiring Yekang doesn't need to worry, she can catch up with her own efforts. Yekang was almost crying with envy, but she was independent and self-reliant, so she decided to train harder and catch the 4 tails when she reached the level of Cage. According to Luosha, the 4-tailed fox is most suitable for the fire type and has the greatest possibility of enabling the Sage Mode for fire type Pokémon. Far away in the hidden rock village, the 4-tailed Monkey King felt his anus tighten and he felt an inexplicable chill. After Sand Village F4 was strengthened, Luosha started his second experiment. Psychic. Luosha first tried to make a psychic contract with Rayquaza. After a while of fiddling with it, a mysterious force enveloped Rayquaza, and Luosha successfully signed a psychic contract with Rayquaza. It worked. After the spirit absorbs chakra and learns Sage Mode, it can really sign a psychic contract. Luosha laughed excitedly. I am indeed a genius. The Holy Land plan is completely feasible. As we all know, genius is 99% perspiration and 1% hard work. And 900% cheating. Luo Sha followed the same method and made a spiritual contract with other Pokémons. At my Boku Mountain, the Great Toad Sage always has a bad feeling, but his prophecy skills can't find the reason. Before he could figure it out, the Toad Immortal started snoring again and forgot about the matter. 3 holy places, B grade is dropping rapidly. Chapter 61, The A-Fei Shit Dance. In the northwest corner of the Sand Village, a half-black and half-white head poked out from the ground. The hollow eyes flashed with a deep light. It was the filial son Heizetsu. We've finally arrived at the Sand Village. Black Zetsu complained in a low voice, it took 2 months to dig here, God knows what it went through in these 2 months. Yet, a lot of white Zetsu died. I didn't see any Pokemons pooping along the way. Why don't Pokemons poop? Uzumaki headed Afei also poked his head out from underground. It was quiet all around and no ninja passed by, so he spoke loudly with relief. Keep your voice down, don't get caught. Black Zetsu's face was full of black lines, although it was impossible to see the expression on his face. Why are there so many spirits underground in the Kingdom of Wind? The white Zetsu finally dug for a month to reach the Sand Village, but they couldn't find the tunnel back. Afei ignored Black Zetsu and started singing and dancing. The white Zetsu and his companions had originally dug a tunnel leading to the Sand Village, but the tunnel was occupied by the Pokémons, so they had to change their route on their return journey. But there were too many Pokémons on the way, Baiju had to change routes constantly, and finally got lost. The environment in the Wind Kingdom is harsh and the temperature in the ground is so high that this month has been a nightmare for the white Zetsu. Countless white Ju were killed by the Pokémons along the way. After being lost in the desert for a month, white Ju finally returned to the base. However, the question of how to reach the Sand Village remains unresolved. How could the white Zetsu still remember the tunnel? It was a blessing to be able to come out alive. So Black Zetsu personally took action and led the white Zetsu to start digging the tunnel again. Whenever he encounters a Pokémon, Black Zetsu throws a white Zetsu and then continues digging decisively. After digging for a week, Black Zetsu finally arrived at the Sand Village. Just as Afei was performing the ritual with great enthusiasm, a fire-breathing camel discovered him. Fire camel, what the hell? The fire-breathing camel was so ugly that he felt unclean. He opened his mouth and gathered his strength, then shot a jet of flame at Afei. Afei's dancing movements were so hot that he stopped and jumped up immediately. Ah, it's on fire. Afei kept rolling on the ground, and when the flames went out, he had been burned into black. The charred Afei stood up, exhaled a puff of black smoke, and fell down again. The fire-breathing camel looked at his masterpiece with satisfaction, snorted and turned away. I told you to speak quietly, but you didn't listen. Now you're getting your comeuppance. Black Zetsu was hiding in the basement, looking at Afei who had a fever, and poked his head out with a gloating look on his face. The 2 Black Zetsu moved towards the Sand Village vigilantly, easily crossed the ceiling barrier and entered the village. After obtaining the legacy of the Uzumaki clan, Li Feng has remodeled and upgraded the barrier of Sand Village, but it is still not enough for these 2 Zetsu who can burrow underground. Li Feng was drinking some wine and bragging to Qi Luo at this time. Brother, let me tell you, I have finally learned the Uzumaki clan sealing technique. As long as Uzumaki Mito dies, I will be the #1 sealing master in the ninja world. Imagining the beautiful future, Li Feng took a sip of wine happily. Alas, it's a pity that the Shiki Fusion cannot be actually used. If I had used the Shiki Fusion, that old bastard Sarutobi Hiruzen could have been traded 1 for 1 by me. You are worthy of being Uzumaki. Your sealing technique level is amazing, slay. Li Feng continued to brag, little Hokage, how ridiculous. No matter how powerful Uzumaki is, he was still destroyed. The small ninja village should not stand out too much, otherwise it will die sooner or later. Akira said disdainfully. Ah, what a wonderful day. I don't even need to worry about the sealing squad. Is there anyone who dares to invade the Sand Village now? The Jonin class has had a rare bit of free time recently, so I can finally take a break. Qi Luo looked at Li Feng enviously. It's good to have a skill. Right below the 2 of them, Black Zetsu and Afei were listening to their conversation. Black Zetsu, their conversation is so boring, there is not any useful information at all. Afei complained, why don't they discuss the most meaningful thing? Shit. Humph, didn't you hear that? These 2 old guys are high-ranking officials of the Sand Village. If you follow them, you will definitely get unexpected gains. The 2 Jew followed all the way and came to the Sand Village public toilet. Black Zetsu, poop. So much poop. Woohoo, I'm so touched. The Sand Village knows me so well. Can I live here in the future? Ah Fei kept digging out feces, and became more and more excited. Yellow mud flew everywhere in the small space, and Heiju couldn't hide even if he wanted to. Asshole, stop it now. Black Zetsu punched Ah Fei's head into an indescribable place. Ah Fei pulled his head out and sighed with satisfaction. So this is what poop tastes like. On the ground, Qi Luo and Lai Feng looked at each other. Did you hear any strange noises just now? Hey? Did you hear that too? It seems someone is saying that poop tastes good. It must be an illusion. The two were speechless, pulled up their pants and ran away. How come I can meet a pervert just when I go to the toilet? Hey, they're gone, hurry up and follow them. Black Zetsu reminded and left here immediately, obviously not wanting to stay even a moment longer. Ah, Black Zetsu, you go first, I'll come find you later. Ah Fei lay on the feces, immersed in the fantasy that he could also poop. That must be a very happy thing. Ah Fei turned over and started to dance in the pile of feces. At this time, Qi Luo and Lai Feng couldn't even drink the wine. The thought of someone liking to eat feces and they happened to meet such a person made them feel sick and wanted to vomit. Damn it, it's so unlucky. Don't let me know who he is, or I'll make him the headline. That's right, speaking of the recent headline news about the Zong family and the Duo family, which version is true? Which other version could it be? It must be the most popular one. 3 young people were looking for excitement, so they did it in a lobby, and were caught by Duofu, who was so angry that he fainted. But a new version came out today. Duo-sun and Duo are in a forbidden love relationship, and Zong Qiwa is just a shield. This must have come from the Zong family. The Zong family really did everything they could to change their reputation. Is that so? But I think the more outrageous the version, the more true it is. Zong Qiwa was beaten like that by Duofu, but Duo-sun and Duo were indifferent. They must not like Zong Qiwa. Is it possible? Black Zetsu, what the hell is this? Why can't I understand anything? Heiju was so angry that he wanted to jump out and chop the 2 of them to death. Could you please say something useful quickly? Because it followed these 2 people, Ah Fei sprayed it with feces and it is now in extreme pain. But the family is really lucky. Duofu is 65 years old, and he can still rely on Luo Sha. Li Feng shook his head. As Luo Sha became more famous, he even felt that Zong Yu selling Zong Mi to Luo Sha was a profitable deal. Li Feng has no way to send his son away now. It was all because of those 2 old foxes, Gaddis and Zong Yu. One gave his daughter a 3rd leg, and the other gave his son a 3rd leg, which made it impossible for him to get a number. Rosa is only 10 years old, but he is already stronger than us. When he summons a stronger spirit in the future, he will definitely reach the level of Hashirama Senju. Akira said in agreement. After listening to the conversation between the 2, Black Zetsu decided to find Luo Sha in person to find out the truth. Chapter 62. Luo Sha's family. Luo Sha is giving the quack frog a bath, and the feeling is simply amazing. The croaking frog sat in the bathtub with an expressionless face and dull eyes, allowing Luo Sha to roll it into a round and flat shape. Frog is very clean and doesn't want to take a bath at all. But Daddy really wanted to give Frog a bath, and Frog had no right to refuse. With such a father, Guigua Pao Frog feels that his life is hopeless. The bubble frog sat in the basin, feeling depressed, but Saduk outside the basin showed an envious look. Saduk is waiting in line for a bath. Because Frog is the younger brother, and Saduk, as the older brother, has to wait until his younger brother finishes his bath before he can take a bath. Rosa, someone is approaching. Gardevoir's mental voice suddenly sounded. Luo Sha continued to rub his foamy hands on the frog and asked casually, "Who is it?" It seems to be a strange thing, not a human, nor an Pokémon, moving towards us underground. Hey! Luo Sha stopped and his mind was confused for a moment. At this time, the giant golden monster in the garden had floated over and came to Luo Sha's side. Black Zetsu quietly poked his head out from the corner and immediately felt a pain at the back of his head. Ah, which bastard hit me? Oh my god, how can you be such a filial son? Luo Sha cried out in surprise and immediately dropped the iron rod in his hand. He used the sealing technique Phantom 9 Dragon's sealing technique and raised his head to cover Heizetsu's head. Ow! Feeling a hot sensation on his head, Black Zetsu shuddered and immediately hid underground. However, the escape failed. Saduk was frightened by Black Zetsu's half-black and half-white appearance. His head ached and he covered his head and unconsciously used the petrification technique. The duck god's petrification skill is a mysterious art and he never fails. Black Zetsu was frozen in place. At this time, Banjura came under Black Zetsu and smelled a smell of shit. He frowned and realized that something was wrong. No matter how stubborn Bangala was, he didn't dare to go forward, so he used sharp stones to attack and poke upwards. A long sound was heard, which seemed to be accompanied by unspeakable pain, mixed with an indescribable pleasure. Commonly known as painful and pleasurable. Black Jew failed to escape as he was blocked by Phantom 9 Dragon's sealing technique and could not run away. Luo She raised his hand in disgust. What's that strong smell? Gardewar teleported to the Kazekage's office to get the tea kettle, then immediately teleported back and handed the tea kettle to Rasa. Hey Zetsu, would you dare to answer when I call you? Luo She raised the tea kettle and pointed it at Hey Zetsu. What? You know my name? Black Zetsu looked at Rasa in shock, his mind working frantically, wondering where he had let someone slip. Luo She didn't care about Black Zetsu and directly sucked Black Zetsu into the tea kettle, then covered the opening with the 4-symbol seal. After what Black Zetsu did, the teapot should be filled with the smell, and no one would want to enter this teapot again. If Shikaku is disobedient, we can punish it and lock it up. I wonder if Shikaku will still be so talkative when he smells the scent. At this moment Shikaku was transformed into a mini shape, lying on the sand to bask in the sun, when he suddenly shivered. Strange, why am I shivering? Looking at Fufuku who was sitting nearby and reciting sutras, Shikaku shook his head and decided to stop thinking about it since he couldn't figure it out. Shikaku is very self-aware and believes that he will be happy only if he lives a simple life. After Black Zetsu was put into the tea kettle, Bangala immediately crawled out of the ground and rushed to the bathtub. Frog, don't come over here. With a sudden earthquake, the bathtub cracked. When the bubble frog smelled the scent coming from Bangala beside him, the cold expression on his face could no longer be maintained. Qua! The crying sounded and there was another round of chaos. Luo She held the butt of the frog and tried to comfort the child, but the frog refused. Croaky frog, your hands smell too. Before the quack frog finished crying, another burst of quack crying was heard beside it. Saduk, who hadn't taken a bath yet, started crying when he saw the broken bathtub. Luo She, destroy it, I'm tired. Picture above. After finally pacifying the two little ones, Luo She looked at the tea kettle thrown in the corner. What bad luck! But was the big boss of Hokage sealed by him like this? Madara won't attack me, will he? Thinking of this, Luo She put the tea kettle into a space scroll and immediately ran to the Kazekage building. Master, there is a strong enemy. Quickly be on guard. Shago was confused, but out of trust, he immediately raised the village's defense alert level to the highest level. Chi Luo and Lai Feng, who were drunk, were caught by Shagu. The two of them neglected their duties and slacked off at work, and Shago could have turned a blind eye to them. But now he even skipped classes. Shago couldn't stand it anymore and was furious. When Chi Luo and Lai Feng were found by the Anbu, they were still bragging and chatting in the tavern. They were helped by the Anbu to the Kazekage's office. Gale, am I dazzled? Why did I see Lord Feng Ying? Ah? Where? Why can't I see him? Li Feng turned his head back and forth, and there was only a blurry figure in front of him. Oh, that's just my eyesight. Lord Kazekage, Nami is really awesome. She can even win over a bachelor who has been single for thousands of years. Li Feng started to commit suicide. Hehe, I heard that Lord Kazekage and Nami had a mosaic in the office. Chi Luo continued. Luo She was sweating profusely as he listened to this. Who the hell spread this? At this time, Yahiko, who was playing hide and seek, sneezed, which immediately attracted Conan's attention and was caught by Conan. That's nothing. I've read their storybooks. They're so exciting. The authors are really talented. At this time, Nami was lying in front of the table writing the Kazekage's beloved wife, which is the sequel to the previous book The Kazekage Fell in Love with Me. The mosaic content of this article is even more profound. Who can blame her for being a personal experience? She believes that the sequel will be more popular with readers. Nami was happily writing the 18+ books, she didn't know yet that her book was about to be banned and she was about to be exposed. As Qi Luo and Li Feng talked more and more, Shagu's face became more and more gloomy. Luo Sha listened with great interest. It turned out that there were so many gossips in Sunagakure. Gadex is a well-known henpecked husband who secretly keeps a mistress outside. Soran has been cheated on for 2 years, and his wife has a first love who comes to fix the water pipes every day when Soran is not at home. Asen is not in a hurry to eat meat and vegetables, and he went to eat lizards out of curiosity. Shagu was originally furious, but as he listened he became curious and started to pay close attention. When the two had finished talking, he poured cold water on them to wake them up. Hey! Lord Feng Ying! Qi Luo screamed after waking up and suddenly felt that life was bleak. Qi Luo was desperate and tried every possible means to find a cure, so he just rolled his eyes and pretended to be dead. This acting is unbearable to watch. I don't know if Jengar can improve Akaji's acting skills. He can't be like a certain actress who has been acting for 30 years and still sucks even with an acting teacher, right? But fortunately, Qi Luo has sharp eyes and his acting skills can be trained to be better than that person's. Karo, Mr. Gengui, please teach me how to perform. Li Feng silently took 2 steps to the side, trying to distance himself from Qi Luo. What are you doing if you don't have acting skills? That's really stupid. So Li Feng gathered his emotions and then also fainted beautifully. Although Li Feng's performance was average, it was probably good enough to win a Golden Eagle Award. Chapter 63. Li Feng and Qi Luo were taken to the interrogation department by Shagu. Ebizo was surprised to see 2 familiar faces coming. Have you also betrayed the Sand Village? Ebizo looked at the 2 in shock. That's not right. With the brains of the 2 of you, if you wanted to betray me, you should have been caught long ago, right? Ebizo's low EQ speech successfully offended both of them. Hey, Ebizo, what do you mean? Are you saying I'm stupid? Qi Luo suddenly became furious and swung the shackles loudly. Li Feng glanced at Qi Luo and thought he was indeed quite stupid. What's the matter? Do you still want to fight with me? Don't you know who my sister is? She is the #1 female ninja in the ninja world, the #1 puppeteer, the #1 elder, Cho. Ebizo looked up provocatively and almost blurted out something. If he said this out loud, given Qi Luo and Li Feng's personalities, he would be severely beaten by his sister tomorrow. The 3 of them started a quarrel like elementary school students, and a crowd of people stood by to watch the fun with seductive eyes. The crystal lamp spirit saw 2 more people coming to the interrogation department and floated over from a distance with joy. Li Feng and Qi Luo fell silent immediately, their hair stood up on end and goosebumps appeared on their skin. Seeing that the 2 stopped talking back, Ebizo was immediately amused and started to spray wildly against the crystal lamp fire spirit. I, Ebizo, have relied on my sister and the spirits for my whole life. Who said I was born with good luck and had someone to protect me? Ebizo happily sprayed the 2 men until they were depressed, and locked them up in the VIP cell. Li Feng and Qi Luo squatted in the corner of the cell and drew circles, and the desolate Yi Jian Mei sounded again. The interrogation department was unusually lively today, and every place in the Sand Village was equally lively. The perception ninjas, the sealing squad ninjas, the Jonins and the Pokémons were all walking around the Sand Village, looking for possible invading enemies. Lord Kazekage, a Jonin, came to report that when his Radon was digging towards the public toilet, he heard a strange noise, as if there was some kind of shamanic dance. An Anbu ran in and saluted to report. What? Shago looked up in shock. There was such a weirdo in the Sand Village. Ahem, I asked you to look for invading enemies, not special enthusiasts. Shagu waved his hand and asked the Anbu to leave. It would be better if this kind of scandal didn't make the headlines. Sand Village couldn't afford to lose this person. Wait, there's a shaman dance in a public toilet? Inside the public toilet? Wouldn't it affect other people going to the toilet? Luo Sha suddenly had an idea and recalled a creature. In the pit right below the public toilet. The Anbu ninja still endured the discomfort and said it out. Surround it, don't let it run away. Luo Sha rushed towards the public toilet in a hurry, but stopped immediately. He seemed unable to do it. He doesn't want to be covered in shit. Go, inform Li Feng to seal that creature. Shagu naturally guessed what Luosha was thinking, so he gave the order to the Anbu. Just consider it as Li Feng paying the price for his recent mistake. Once Li Feng is sealed, his merits will be used to offset his mistakes and eliminate his guilt. Li Feng, who was drawing circles in the cell, was dragged out by the Anbu ninja with a look of joy on his face. Li Feng, it's good to have a skill. You can get out right after you come in, ha 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 ha. Li Feng raised an eyebrow at Qi Luo, then left triumphantly with the Anbu. Humph, the villain is in power. Qi Luo said that he was not envious at all, really. Qi Luo drew circles with his hands more forcefully, and with a snap, the branch broke. Even you bully me. Qi Luo threw away the branch, feeling aggrieved like a 50-year-old baby. Li Feng happily followed the Anbu to the public toilet, but a bad feeling arose in his heart. Aren't you sealing the enemy? Why did you bring me to the public toilet? Li Feng panicked. It wasn't what he thought. Yes, the enemy is hiding in the cesspool. The sealing squad has set up a barrier, so the enemy will definitely not be able to escape. No, 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 the sealing squad can catch it, there's no need for me to do anything. I want to go back to the cell, I want to go back to the cell. Li Feng took out the handcuffs, handcuffed himself, turned around and ran away. Lord Li Feng, this is Lord Feng Ying's order. Please don't make things difficult for us. The ANBU ninjas showed up and surrounded him. Not to embarrass you? Are you going to embarrass me? I have shed blood for the Sand Village, I have shed tears for the Sand Village, you can't do this to me. Li Feng's heart was broken at this moment, and he collapsed and screamed. After a long struggle, Li Feng refused to enter the pit. The Anbu ninjas made up their minds and decided to throw Li Feng in. Anyway, everyone is wearing a mask, so Li Feng can't find a target to take revenge on. No, 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 what do you want to do? Put me down. Put me down. The Anbu still had some conscience and put a tight-fitting suit on Li Feng. After all, Li Feng was a high-ranking official in the Sand Village. Li Feng fell into the pit and could vaguely hear the sound of a shaman dancing. It sounds unusually pleasant, like a wizard performing a ritual, which makes people feel uncomfortable. Li Feng was covered with an indescribable yellow substance and got up to dig towards the place where the singing came from. Complete the mission quickly and leave this damn place. When people are crazy, they will burst out with infinite power, and Li Feng is in this situation now. After digging about 10 meters, Li Feng saw a strange creature dancing in the yellow ocean. Li Feng released the Bagua seal with the fastest hand speed in his life, sealing the white sand coin creature that caused him to come to the cesspool into the scroll. What? What a kindred spirit! There are actually people who like poop. Woohoo, I'm so touched. Ah Fei was so engrossed in the jump that he didn't notice the coming of the fierce wind. When he realized it, he started to feel moved and ran towards Li Feng wanting a big hug. Then, Ah Fei entered the sealed scroll. Li Feng completed the seal in 0.01 seconds and sealed Ah Fei. Li Feng climbed out of the pit dressed in yellow, looking at the Anbu ninjas in the distance who dared not approach, and laughed crazily. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Come on, have fun. We have plenty of time anyway. Li Feng rolled out a yellow ball and threw it at the Anbu ninja. What? The Anbu were shocked and immediately escaped using the body flickering technique. There was one unlucky guy who failed to escape because Li Feng activated the sealing technique in his hand and a sealing barrier trapped him. Li Feng remembered that this unlucky guy was the one who had just suggested throwing him in. You, don't come over here. The unlucky guy looked at Li Feng in horror. After all, Li Feng was wrapped in a tights, but he was not. Ja. The strong wind keeps rolling the yellow mud balls, bayu. The inhumane screams echoed throughout the Sand Village, making those who saw it cry and those who heard it feel sad. 7 days later, after Qi Luo was released from prison, he heard the rumors about Li Feng and burst into laughter with glee. Ha ha ha, luckily I don't know how to seal, ha ha ha. Qi Luo didn't even change his clothes. He ran hurriedly to Li Feng in his prison uniform and looked at Li Feng with curiosity. What are you doing? Li Feng guessed what Qi Luo, the birdman, was thinking and stared at him coldly. Come on, have fun. We have plenty of time anyway. Akara sang the song that has been widely circulated in the Sand Village recently. Li Feng sneered, raised his hand, and pinched a sealing scroll. Qi Luo's face was full of question marks, he couldn't understand Li Feng's operation. Then, a yellow torrent gushed out of the scroll and drowned Qi Luo. Ha 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 ha, this is a new sealing technique that I was inspired to develop 7 days ago, S-rank shit escape, yellow ocean. Li Feng has become immune to shit. Anyone who dared to mock him in the past 7 days has been slapped into submission by him. No one dares to talk about this topic in front of him anymore. Li Feng has now become the second Ebizo, known as the Shit King. Only Qi Luo, who had just been released from prison, was unaware of this and therefore successfully took the Yellow Ocean from Li Feng. Qi Luo crawled out in collapse, pointed at Li Feng with his trembling right hand, and ran away crying. "Mom, I don't want to live anymore." Qi Luo ran while crying, and passers-by all tried to avoid him. The next day, the news of Akara running wildly on the streets of Sand Village in an indescribable manner made the headlines, earning him the nickname Shit Runner. Chapter 64. Bear Country. Kakuzu looked at the dozen or so ninjas from the Hidden Star Village who were blocking his way. He raised his hand and dense black lines emerged from the ground, controlling the Hidden Star ninjas. The Star ninjas struggled hard, but their bodies were completely unable to move. Kakuzu looked at them coldly, his wrist separated from his arm, and his arm split open, turning into many black tentacles that pierced straight through the chests of the Star ninjas and crushed their hearts. Ibison, the only Jonin of Hashigakure, successfully used the peacock technique, and his chakra took on the appearance of a peacock's tail. He broke free from Kakuzu's control and immediately flew away to avoid Kakuzu's attack. Oh! Looking at this Star ninja who was able to escape his attack, Kakuzu finally became a little interested. Kakuzu stretched out his other hand, and countless black lines emerged again, attacking Ibison like poisonous snakes. Ibison was shocked and quickly used the peacock technique to defend himself. More and more black lines were entangled around Ibsen, and Ibsen could only hold on with difficulty. Once he stopped, he would be completely tied up. A lightning-masked monster emerged from Kakuzu's body, and a sharp lightning spear was fired from its mouth, stabbing towards Ibison. Thunder escaped pseudo-darkness. The lightning spear easily broke through Peacock Magic's defense and pierced through Ibison's abdomen. The form of Peacock Magic disappeared, and the black lines immediately wrapped around Ibison, and Kakuzu pulled it in front of him. Secret technique, heart seizure. Kakuzu reached into Ibison's chest and pulled out Ibison's heart and chakra properties, moving them into his own body. Ibison watched this scene happen and breathed his last in horror. The Dream Demon had been sitting on Kakuzu's shoulder watching the fight. Seeing Kakuzu easily kill his opponent, he rubbed Kakuzu's cheek with joy. Kakuzu did not resist, but calmly accepted the Dream Demon's close contact. Sending a Star Ninja to intercept and kill me? Apparently, the Tenryou King has been defeated. Kakuzu walked towards the capital of the Kuma country. He believed that the time of the Kuma country daimyo was approaching and the Kuma country needed a virtuous new daimyo to take power. Kakuzu decided to screen for the Bear Kingdom and help it select an outstanding leader. Kakuzu has been in the Bear Country for 9 months and has only now completed the development of the Bear Country market. It only took him 3 months in the Bird Kingdom to complete the mission. That's because when he was indecisive in the Bird Kingdom, he would kill people. This killing frightened the nobles of the Bird Kingdom, forcing the Bird Kingdom to open up its market. All subsequent matters in the Land of Birds will be taken over by the Sand Village, and he only needs to develop the market. But in the Bear Kingdom, he chose to cooperate with the nobles who had surrendered to him to implement the Elf Protection Law. This would have been absolutely impossible in the past. The Horned Ones didn't even care about human lives, so how could they care about the life and death of the Pokémons? Kakuzu was born in Takigakure Village. When he was young, he was willing to risk his life for the village and has always dedicated himself to Takigakure Village. He was once a good ninja who loved the village. Until he was forced to send the mission to assassinate Senju Hashirama, Kakuzu knew that he was no match for him, so for the sake of his life, he threw a shuriken from 800 miles away and ran away. After being chased by Hashirama Senju's wooden clone for 3 days and 3 nights, Kakuzu was almost exhausted to death. He thought it was just a failed mission. Which ninja has never failed a mission? But what awaited him in the village was stigma and severe punishment. Because he has threatened the status of the top leaders of Takigakure. He escaped from prison with intense hatred, took away the forbidden technique de Yuan Yu, which was regarded as a treasure by the village, and killed all the high-ranking officials of Takigakure village. He began to hang out in underground money exchange houses, became cunning and cruel, and became obsessed with money. For the sake of profit, he can betray anyone, even his own partners. Partner is the most ridiculous word to him, he only needs one person. He has 5 hearts and eternal life, and the earth's resentment makes him almost immortal. His only 2 pursuits are money and power. Only money and power can bring him satisfaction and fill his empty heart. Money became his new spiritual sustenance. He did not spend but only earned, enjoying the pleasure of getting money. He has been a bounty hunter for more than 10 years, and every day he is either killing or on his way to kill. He became stronger and stronger, and he was confident that none of the 5 Kage had the ability to defeat him. After the death of the 2 Konoha hackers, no one in the world can kill him. It was not until he met Luo Xia and was killed with only a heart left that he felt the fear of death for the first time in a long time. He is still young, he is only in his 60s, he hasn't earned enough money yet, how could he be willing to die like this? Kakuzu, I still have more than 10 billion yen in savings. Can you wait until I spend it before you kill me? In a surprising turn of events, Luo Xia did not choose to kill him, but to cooperate with him. Kakuzu gladly accepted the cooperation. When he was in the Bird Kingdom, he only regarded Pokémons as cargo that could bring him wealth. No matter who you are, as long as you can afford the money, you can buy a Pokeball and capture a Pokémon. In just 3 months, the Bird Kingdom was conquered by him by force. During these 3 months, he successfully achieved zero consumption, and all his expenses were voluntarily paid for by the nobles. Until he obtained the Dream Demon, and this little guy was born in his hands. He watched the Dream Demon break out of its shell, watched the Dream Demon treat him with unreserved affection, watched the Dream Demon annoy him all day long. He didn't even choose to crush it to death. He could feel the vague bond between him and the Dream Demon, and an inexplicable and indescribable strange emotion surged in his heart. Under the influence of the Earth's resentment, he became cold-blooded, cruel, and bloodthirsty, and gradually became indifferent to life. He regarded human life as worthless and unleashed the terrifying power of the Earth's resentment without hesitation, enjoying the pleasure of controlling the life and death of others. It was not until the appearance of the Dream Demon that he realized that he still retained the fragile emotions of a human being. When he set out again, he was no longer alone, and there was always a little Dream Demon sitting on his shoulder. He couldn't trust anyone, but he could trust the nightmare. So, this is the Pokémon? After arriving in the Bear Kingdom, Jiaodu no longer treated the Pokémons as commodities, and began to pay attention to the Pokémon's survival. He is still the cold-blooded executioner, constantly killing anyone who stands in his way. But he accepted the surrender of the Bear Kingdom nobles instead of killing them and then inheriting their legacy. These nobles are his allies in the Bear Kingdom. In addition to business cooperation, they also promote the Pokémon's protection law. After 9 months of hard work, everything was finally settled. Unexpectedly, the daimyo of the Bear Country would actually seek death on his own initiative. The daimyo must be responsible for commanding so many ninjas from the Hidden Star Village to assassinate him. Sunagakure Village is a ninja village located in the Bear Country, responsible for protecting the security of the Bear Country. The people in Xingyian Village are all arrogant and self-important. They think highly of themselves because of the peacock magic and even dare to come up with the title of Star Shadow. Kazekage confidently promised the daimyo that the Hidden Star Village could easily send Kakuzu away. Singing, little Jiaodu, so funny. Then, the daimyo of Bear Country successfully sent himself away, and his 6-year-old youngest son inherited the position of daimyo of Bear Country. The officials of the Bear Country were overjoyed. What a good thing! They all flattered the emperor, sent Jiaozu out of the capital, and immediately began to perform a fictional drama. Daimyo, who am I? Where am I? What am I going to do? Kakuzu embarked on a journey to the Sand Village. He planned to go to Rosa to find a few more Pokémon. Chapter 65 Sand Village, Raza Family. Afei, have you thought it through? Luo Xia looked threateningly at Afei, who was trapped by the sealing technique. Ah! I can't betray Madara-sama. I won't tell you that Madara-sama is in the mountain cemetery in the Land of Lightning. Aren't you curious about what poop is? As long as you are willing to take me to where Madara is hiding, I can find someone to discuss this philosophical question with you. Ah! This is not good, right? Afei's eyes rolled around, and he was thinking anxiously about where to hide after betraying Lord Madara. Don't you want to know how poop is formed? I want to. I'll take you to see Madara. Lord Luosha, can you tell me the answer first? Afei's eyes lit up with excitement, and he surrendered directly to Luosha. No problem. But I can only tell you half of it. I'll tell you the other half after I find Madara. The meaning is... Luo Xia had expected to deal with Afei so easily. It's really pitiful that Ban is living alone and helpless in this world. Ninja Shura lost her brother in her early years, her husband in her middle years, and He lost his mind in his old age and was deceived by a 1,000-year-old villain. After he was finally resurrected, he had his heart ripped out. Rasa decided to help him and send Madara to reunite with Hashirama Senju. Wait until the ninja world is at peace and then revive Madara and Hashirama, and then Rasa can enjoy the show happily. Uzumaki Mito must not be left behind, the Shura field or something like that would be really interesting. Now that we have dealt with Afei, the next one is Kakuzu. Throwing the shuriken from 800 miles away became the shame of Kakuzu's life. This is a good opportunity to restore his reputation. Luo Sha waited patiently and finally arrived at Kakuzu after 3 days. Long time no see. I see you're getting along well with Meng Yao. Luo Sha personally went out of the village to welcome his top employee. The Bird Kingdom now has a monthly income of 1,000 million taels, and the Bear Kingdom has a monthly income of 700 million taels. With employees like this, what more could one ask for? Luo Sha, the Bear Country has been successfully conquered. Do you have any Pokémon that's suitable for me? Kakuzu's low voice sounded, and he immediately asked Luo Sha about the Pokémon. He wanted to find a companion for the Dream Demon, which was definitely not what he wanted for himself. Do you have any specific requests? The Pokémon Encyclopedia can be used to query Pokémon information. Ghost type. Kakuzu likes the style of Ghost-type Pokémon, which suits him very well. Gengui, Night Slayer, Zoroark, Kui Xi, Crystal Lantern, Aegis Blade, each is 1 million taels. Luo Sha offered a string of purple-quality Pokémons, and the price was only doubled. He was truly a great philanthropist. Kakuzu's family background is still a mystery, but the fact that he can support Konan in the future is enough to show that Kakuzu is financially strong. Is there anything cheaper? Kakuzu still had a cold tone and didn't feel embarrassed at all. Kakuzu, it's not that I can't afford it, I'm just thrifty. The coffin of the god of death, the clay giant, the portable ball, the cursed doll, the rotten wood demon, and the pumpkin monster, each is 1,000 million taels. Luo Sha curled the corner of his mouth. It turned out that he shouldn't have had any hope for Jiaodu. Making money from him was as difficult as asking a sow to climb a tree. Okay, 50% off, I'll take them all. Hearing the price, buying 6 would only cost 6,000 million, which was exactly in line with psychological expectations. Uncle Kakuzu was rarely generous and only cut the price in half. What on earth am I expecting? Rosa really wanted to slap himself. Why would he think of making money from Kakuzu? He would be lucky if he didn't lose money. I should have sold it at 10 times the price. Dream. However, the Dream Demon was not happy. After seeing the mediocre looks of the 6 Pokémons in the Pokémon Encyclopedia, the Dream Demon felt that his life would be dull if he kept company with them. The Dream Demon immediately floated up, snatched the Pokémon illustrated book from Kakuzu's hand, and turned to the page of Dragon Baluto. Dream. I want him, handsome. The Dream Demon floated back and forth, looking at the photo with a nympho look. Luo Sha, how much is the Dragon Baruto Pokémon egg? Seeing Rosa's gloating look, Kakuzu had a bad feeling. It's not expensive, just 50 billion taels. Puff Kakuzu spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. 3 seconds later, Kakuzu stood up again. Just now, Kakuzu's heart couldn't bear it anymore and one of his hearts was successfully destroyed. Ahem, can you make it cheaper? Kakuzu spoke through gritted teeth, one word at a time. This is the Pokémon chosen by the Dream Demon, and Jiaoda doesn't want to disappoint the Dream Demon. Since we have a good relationship, I'll give you the lowest price, 99% off. I'm already losing money on this deal. Luo Sha looked as if he had made a fortune, and was as sincere as he could be. You guys are trying to make money from me, Luo, but I'll cheat you to death. 1 billion taels, and give me another Jengar. Kakuzu took a deep breath, and then another deep breath. He took hundreds of deep breaths, calming his 4 wildly beating hearts, before he uttered these words. No problem, deal. Kakuzu, damn, what a loss. When the Dream Demon heard that the transaction was completed, he happily floated back to Kakuzu's shoulder and kissed Kakuzu on the cheek. Then, regardless of Kakuzu's disheartened state, the Dream Demon took out Kakuzu's wallet and pulled out a space scroll containing 10 billion taels. Luo Sha took the space scroll, looked at the 10 stacks of silver neatly arranged inside, happily recharged the Pokémon coins, and handed the Pokémon egg to Kakuzu. He made 4 million taels from a single business deal. Kakuzu is not only the best worker, but also the god of wealth. Kakuzu took the 2 Pokémon eggs with bleeding heart, but since the dream demon was sitting on his shoulder, he had to put on an expectant look. Family background mystery rich man sucker Kakuzu, never let my daughter think that her father is a poor guy. As the white light came, Ghastly and Dragon Messiah appeared in Kakuzu's hands. Name Gars. Gender female. Attribute ghost. Features cursed body, when attacked, there is a chance that the opponent will become stiff. Level LV1. Individual 3V, HP 31, Attack 22, Defense 25, Special Attack 31, Special Defense 30, SPEED 31. Skills Strange Light, Licking, Poison, Inherited. Name Doran Mesha. Gender male. Attribute Ghost, Dragon. Features Cursed Body. Level LV1. Individual 4V, HP 31, Attack 31, Defense 31, Special Attack 30, Special Defense 25, SPEED 31. Skills Bite, Lightning Flash, Dragon Breath, Shadow Clone, Inherited. Ghastly inherited Poison, which is a very practical skill. Doran Messiah seems unremarkable, but has a hidden trait, Cursed Body. Cursed Body is more practical than Penetration and Eternal Purity in real combat. The Dream Demon was extremely excited at this time, and from now on it became the big sister. But looking at little Doran Messiah. This is a photo scam. This is a photo scam. The Dream Demon was confused. It was so big, how could it become so small? Although, small ones are also cute. The Dream Demon convinced himself to accept it, it's okay, it will get bigger in the future. Even more excited than the nightmare was Gengar. Gengar jumped out from Rosa's shadow and floated to Ghastly's side. Seeing Ghastly, a fellow member of the same species, Gengar felt that he was one step closer to his dream. Make a horror movie that the entire ninja world will love. Gengui, aren't you teaching Nagato how to perform? Luo Sha asked in surprise when he saw Gengar. Ha 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 ha. That kid's acting is so bad, I'm so angry that I want to kick him, I can't teach him a lesson. Gengar excitedly accused Nagato, and his acting skills were comparable to those of some young actors. Even ghosts can't teach him. Chapter 66. Punishment Team. Kakuzu, I think there's something I forgot to tell you. It means that Dragon Baruto needs 2 Dragon Messiahs to work together to exert its full combat power. Luo Sha tried his best to keep his tone calm, for fear of not being able to hold back his laughter. When Kakuzu heard this, he froze in place, and his 4 hearts almost stopped beating. Without Doran Mesha, Doran Baruto may fall into anxiety and negative emotions, which is not good for his health. Rosa began to sell his product in a subtle way, saying that if Kakuzu bought 2 more Dragon Messiahs, he would be able to have a complete Dragon Ball. You bought a quasi-god for 150 billion, Kakuzu, you made a fortune. This is little Giratina. Kakuzu felt like he was going to break into 4 pieces. Unable to withstand the blow, Kakuzu spat out another mouthful of blood and died. Dream. The Dream Demon looked at Kakuzu curiously. Why did he have to lie down for another 3 seconds? Isn't it just 30 billion taels? There is a huge deposit of 100 billion taels in the space scroll. Is it necessary to vomit blood and fall to the ground? Moreover, Meng Ya remembered that Kakuzu had buried many treasures in various places in the ninja world, probably in preparation for the future Raft Lo expedition. The Dream Demon, who had no concept of silver, could not understand Kakuzu's devastated state of mind. 3 seconds later, the other 3 hearts stood up with dull eyes, living up to their cool and aloof appearance. Well, since we are brothers, I can give you a 10% discount. Luo Sha looked painful, he really suffered a huge loss. No need, let's wait until Dragon Messiah evolves. Kakuzu looked at Rosa warily. Rosa wanted him to raise 3 Dragon Bardas, right? Having his thoughts seen through, Rosa didn't feel embarrassed at all. His suggestions were sincere and he was wholeheartedly considering Kakuzu. No way. I have good news for you. I found the whereabouts of Uchiha Madara. Rosa naturally changed the subject, and the 4 words Uchiha Madara indeed attracted Kakuzu's attention. Uchiha Madara? Isn't he dead? He's alive and well. He's not as strong as before. It's time for you to avenge your past. What shame do you want to avenge? Kakuzu was confused. He and Madara had no grudge against each other. You were chased by Hashirama Senju's wooden clone for 3 days and 3 nights. Don't you want revenge? Who spread this fake news? It's slander. This is slander. Kakuzu slammed the table in anger. Which bastard leaked this news? Ah! Isn't this a well-known fact in the ninja world? Uchiha Madara is the inner, confidant of Senju Hashirama, so defeating him can be considered as clearing your name. Luo Xia began to fool people. After all, Kakuzu, who had 5 lives, was the main force in resisting injuries, and he would not feel sorry even if he was killed by Madara. It's fake, it's all fake. It was obvious back then. It was obvious that he was chased by Mew's clone for 2.5 days, not even 3 days. How strong is Uchiha Madara now? Kakuzu looked at Rasa seriously. When he thought of the painful experience, he decided to do it. Looking back at the past, how could Kakuzu have ever felt so aggrieved? Since Hashirama Senju was dead, let Uchiha Madara bear the consequences for him. My strength is equal to yours. You have 5 lives, so it's not a loss to exchange 1 for 1. Luo Xia put on a serious face, but he kept complaining in his heart. Who knows what Madara-sama is like now? Isn't this asking you to test the waters first? 5 lives are useful, and you have 5 chances to clear the level. Are you as strong as me? Then why are you looking for me? You can solve it with your team members, right? Kakuzu stared at Rosa with suspicion, feeling that he was being bullied. Well, of course it's because Madara is not alone. He founded an organization called Akatsuki. Akatsuki has cage-level strongmen, but Sunagakure will hold back the Akatsuki, giving you enough time to kill Uchiha Madara. The atmosphere fell into silence, and the two looked at each other in silence. 100,000 kilograms of gold. Make a deal. Luo Xia, damn it, if I had known it was so easy to talk to, I wouldn't have said anything. Kakuzu, he even agreed to 100,000 jin? Sure enough, it's not that simple. This kid is really not a human being. The next day, Rasa, Hagura, Suya, Karura, Cho, Fuku, and Kakuzu set out for the mountain cemetery. Cho didn't want to participate at first, but considering her grandson's lifelong happiness, she came anyway. Luo Xia promised her that the horns were the main force and she could hide in the distance and output damage. Cho, what the hell are you talking about? When has a puppeteer ever fought in close combat? As for sharing blessings, Fenfuku also doesn't want to get involved, but Shikaku has always wanted to leave the village. Shikaku, the world is so big, I want to go see it. Luo Xia successfully tricked the raccoon cat. The mini-fat raccoon cat didn't know the purpose of this trip yet, and was lying happily on Fenfu's shoulder looking at the scenery along the way. Fenfuku stayed in the dungeon for 20 years, and lived with Shikaku day and night for 20 years. He knew Shikaku's thoughts very well, and the changes in the sand village made him gradually let go of his worries. So he stepped out of the dungeon and embraced the village completely. The resolution of Bunfuku's emotional knot made him a perfect Jinchuriki in one fell swoop. It turns out that Shikaku had already recognized him. It's just that a certain raccoon cat was too proud and stubborn and refused to admit it. Fenfuku and Shikaku are now in perfect harmony, and there is no longer any barrier between the man and the beast. At Fenfuku's request, the 4-symbol seal was changed back to the Phantom 9 Dragon seal, and Shikaku finally enjoyed the treatment of Chongming. Then, the chatty raccoon came online again. Shikaku and Soya were the only ones talking along the way, and they felt like they had met too late. Chongming, hehe, you scumbag. Share the blessing, monks don't wear green hats, thank you. Suya and Shikaku sang a duet for 3 days, and then they arrived at the Yukang habitat in the bird country. As an ally of the Sand Village, Zapdos naturally needs to contribute to the rise of the Sand Village. After draining Chongming dry, Zapdos successfully learned the Sage mode and its level increased by 3 levels to LV79. The delighted Zapdos looked like the boss and was second only to God, and looked at Luo Xia with gratitude, what a good man. Zapdos decided to repay Rosa and would hit wherever Rosa pointed. Not knowing how powerful the enemy is, the Zapdos is about to become a bald chicken again. Zapdos followed everyone on the road, but Suya had just been sucked in and now looked listless, so Shikaku could only bark. 5 days later, everyone finally arrived at the mountain cemetery. Lord Luo Xia, this way. A whirlpool head showed up and began to lead the way. Fei was extremely excited at this time. After finding Uchiha Madara, he would know what defecation meant. Luo Xia also promised to find it confidants, 2 people named Li Feng and Yahiko, who would definitely be able to have a good chat with it. Afe, Ban, for my convenience, it's time for you to make a contribution. Uchiha Madara was still resting with his eyes closed at this time. Black Zetsu had not had his period for a month. He had been hungry for a month and could only rely on the tubes on his back to stay alive. He didn't know where Afe had gone, but even if Afe was there, he didn't dare to let Afe go to find food. He doesn't want to eat shit. The other white Zetsu are all morons and there is no hope for them. What Madara didn't know was that right above him, a group of people were preparing to come down and pull out his pipe. Luo Sha's 6 Pokémons are all in Sage mode, applying buffs continuously, and the battle is about to break out. Chapter 67, Battle with Madara. Suddenly, a deafening sound of rock cracking was heard, followed by dazzling sunlight pouring down, illuminating the originally dim underground base. The light penetrated the layers of fog, dispelled the endless darkness, and made everything clearly visible. A fierce attack accompanied by light attacked Uchiha Madara. Fire escape Touk-ku. Wind escape press. 2 masks grew on the left and right sides of Kakuzu's body, and he used wind and fire jutsu to merge into wind and fire jutsu and attacked Uchiha Madara. Uchiha Madara's perception of murderous intent was so strong that he opened his eyes the moment Kakuzu attacked, and the 3 megatama in his eyes slowly rotated and turned into a windmill shape. Fire escape. The great fire extinguishes. Although Madara is now in a one-eyed state, his ninjutsu strength is still there, and he easily resists Kakuzu's long accumulated attack. At the moment when the 2 attacks collided, 10 steel wires shot out at high speed from a distance. It's Chiyo's drill wire. Following the 10 steel wires were Sloking's Psychic Blade, Zapdos Thunder, Yakang's Scorch Release, Nirvana and Rasa and Suya's combined magnetic release, Glass Shattering. Accompanied by 5 violent roars, Uchiha Madara's body was submerged in the attack, leaving a huge deep pit on the ground. According to Naruto's law of smoke without injury, Uchiha Madara must be safe and sound. However, the attack did not stop. Rayquaza's Dragon Wave, Banjira's Rock Blade, and Metagross's Psychic Power followed closely, and the skills of many Pokémons hit the deep pit. The smoke dissipated, and Uchiha Madara's figure was no longer seen. Suddenly, a sound of breaking through the air was heard. It was the tearing claws of the dragon-headed mole. The dragon-headed mole had been hiding in the ground. It discovered Madara's trace, drilled out from the ground, and grabbed Madara, who had just used the teleportation technique. Madara reacted very quickly, raising his hand to block, but the sharp claws cut a gash on his palm and blood gushed out. Hehe, do you want to dance? Madara flashed and quickly flipped backwards, looking at the crowd that was rapidly gathering around him without any fear. The windmill in Madara's one eye was spinning wildly, and a blue giant appeared in its place. Susanoo. The werewolf and the dragon-headed Diglett have come close to Uchiha Madara, and they raised their claws to attack him from the left and right. The 2 Pokémons were blown away by Madara's momentum, but Chiyo's Chikamatsu 10 had already arrived next to Susanoo, and the 10 puppets engaged in a close combat with Madara. 11 figures collided fiercely in the field, and Susanoo kept knocking away the 10 people of Chikamatsu. The mental power of Slowking has been attached to the 10 Kinmatsu people, strengthening their defense, so they can quickly return to the field after being knocked away. Rayquaza stubbornly joined the battlefield. The huge Rayquaza took on a huge amount of damage and was beaten badly. After enduring more than 10 attacks, Rayquaza was knocked away, but he made the finishing touch at the last moment, which made this scene a highlight. Bangala took over Rayquaza's position and was also ruthlessly knocked away and quickly offline. Kakuzu also joined the battlefield in his earthly grudge form, but his black figure was too conspicuous among the 10 white figures, and he took on most of the damage as soon as he entered the field. Without Sloking's help, Kakuzu was beaten badly. Kakuzu, who was being targeted, kept complaining to Rasa in his heart, feeling that his asking price was too low. Everyone was shocked to learn that Age Spots had such powerful ninjutsu and taijutsu. Others who are not good at physical skills can only play bystander at this time, because they don't even have the qualifications to enter. Fenfuku transformed into a tailed beast and provided stable damage from the back. He wanted to get in close, but after Shikaku saw the Sharingan, he refused to get close to Uchiha Madara. In Shikaku's words, if it gets close to him, it will be controlled by Uchiha Madara, and then it will become a sandbag to resist damage. It was enough for Kyuubi to endure this kind of experience, a raccoon cat like him couldn't bear it. The fight in the field was still going on. Kakuzu had been stabbed in the heart less than 2 minutes after he entered the field. In so much pain, Kakuzu dodged and retreated. Zapdos finally found an opening to join the battlefield, and in Sage mode, it launched an all-out attack as a divine bird, swooping down from the sky. The attack of the lightning bird reached the threshold of Super Shadow, and the momentum was extremely huge. Madara sensed the violent energy fluctuations and knew he was no match for them, so he launched a large-scale fire escape technique, Great Fire Annihilation, to repel the Chikamatsu Ten, attempting to dodge. But a giant sword of gold dust suddenly appeared behind Susanoo and pierced through the heart of the Susanoo giant. The Susanoo Titan paused and took the attack from the Zapdos head-on. A violent roar sounded, accompanied by the shaking of the earth, and a strong air wave erupted between the Susanoo Titan and the lightning bird. His Kakuzu looked at the scene in shock. This big yellow bird was so strong. The attack dissipated, and the Susanoo Titan was seen grabbing the Zapdos tail. Ban actually managed to survive, he is still strong despite his age. The Chikamatsu Ten and Kakuzu stepped forward again, but Madara ignored them and grabbed the Zapdos and smashed it hard. Bang, bang, bang. Madara was almost knocked out of Susanoo form by the big yellow bird. He immediately realized that this big yellow bird posed the greatest threat to him. The Zapdos was hit so hard that it saw stars, and its little eyes were full of shame and anger. Not only was its most precious tail feathers grabbed, but it was also being swung around for fun. Feathers flew all over the sky, accompanied by the shrill sound of birds chirping, and the lightning bird exploded. In an instant, lightning flashed between heaven and earth, as if the whole world was submerged in thunder. The dazzling lightning danced like a silver snake, releasing endless energy. Within a radius of 10 meters, a brilliant sea of lightning formed, enveloping everything. The Susanoo giant was completely powerless to fight back under this horrific lightning. The powerful electric current penetrated its huge body, ravaging every inch of its bones and muscles. In the blink of an eye, the Susanoo giant was electrocuted into a state of bones. The lightning bird took the opportunity to break away from Madara's control and flew to a distant rock panting. The lightning bird lost half of its feathers, became half a bald chicken. Madara's Susanoo was degraded after being beaten, and Kakuzu felt that the time had come, so he immediately used the earthly resentment technique and rushed forward to attack. Then, the horn was blown away by Madara's finger. Kakuzu, don't I have any dignity? Jouei, finally someone is like me, ha 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 ha. But at least Kakuzu didn't have his heart broken, which was a rare consolation. At the moment Kakuzu was about to be blown away, countless magnetic shurikens rained down from the sky, like a never-ending torrent of steel. This is Suya's ultimate move that he has been holding back for 5 minutes. With the powerful Seven Tails chakra surging in Suya's body, he looked up at the sky, and saw densely packed magnetic styles and shuriken coming at him like a swarm of locusts. Not only are these shurikens astonishing in number, but each one also sparkles with a strange phosphorus glow, like stars in the night sky. At the same time, Cho manipulated the Chikamatsu Ten to act quickly. The Chikamatsu Ten each occupied a different position, and the steel wires in their hands intertwined like spider silk to form a huge and solid net, trapping the huge Susanoo Titan tightly inside. Faced with this sudden attack, Ban was not panicked at all. He just punched lightly and easily tore the seemingly indestructible net. However, at this moment, Luo Sha's attack came again. Art is explosion. The art of multiplying explosive talismans. Luo Sha detonated the detonating talisman buried underground, and a series of explosions sounded. It turned out that Carula had been placing detonating tags at the edge, and used the sand manipulation technique to secretly transfer the detonating tags to the battlefield. And Rasa cooperated with Carula on the field and sent the detonating tag to Madara's feet. At this time, the number of detonating talismans has reached 6. The number of detonating tags is still increasing, and Carula is still supplying them, and the sound of explosions has not stopped. When Kakuzu saw this, he picked up a space scroll, his arm turned into black lines, and poured all the detonating tags inside onto Madara's head. What? Everyone was dumbfounded when seeing the detonating tags poured in by Kakuzu. Here are 10 billion detonating talismans. They are my stockpiles accumulated over the past 20 years. Looking at the people in Sunagakure who looked like they had never seen the world, Kakuzu was quite pleased with himself. Madara, thank you, because of you, the 4 seasons are warm. The Susanoo giant was blown away and Madara experienced for the first time what art is. The attack that Suya had been holding back for a long time finally arrived. Countless shurikens shining with cold light poured down like raindrops, instantly submerging the Susanoo giant in a sea of swords and shadows. Chapter 68. The sound of the steel torrent rubbing against the ground lasted for more than 10 seconds before it gradually stopped. The Susanoo giant slowly dissipated, and a figure covered in blood and scars appeared in its place. Madara stood firmly, his pride would not allow him to fall, he was the Shura of the ninja world. Only Hashirama Senju is qualified to defeat him. A sound of inhaling was heard, causing another piece of the Arctic glacier to melt. Everyone looked at Uchiha Madara, who was still standing, and felt admiration in their hearts. Rasa walked right in front of Uchiha Madara. "Kid, I recognize you. Tell me your name." Madara's low voice sounded, and his still bleeding Sharingan stared at Rasa. "The Sand Village, Rasa. The one who can bring permanent peace to the ninja world." Rasa looked back at Uchiha Madara firmly and said confidently. Peace." His long, pale hair fell like a waterfall, covering his face, and he let out an ambiguous laugh. This peerless warrior, who had fought on the battlefield all his life and experienced countless baptisms of war, never stopped pursuing peace, but ultimately ended up with such a tragic ending. "Then let me see what you are capable of." Madara raised his eyes and instantly used the fire style, dragon flame song technique. Magnetic style, sand shield. Luo Xie raised his hand to block and at the same time released magnetic style, gold sand shotgun to counterattack. Gold dust bullets ricocheted from the ground, and Madara reacted quickly by moving sideways to avoid the attack. Just when Madara was about to attack, a familiar figure came into his sight. Rasa used the transformation technique and turned into Hashirama Senju. At this moment, the naked Senju Hashirama stood in front of Madara, posing in a coquettish manner. Madara's pupils trembled, his old face turned red, and his ears were even redder. You. Madara was so angry that he wanted to chop Luo Xie to pieces immediately. But, his hands froze uncontrollably and he couldn't even make seals. "I haven't seen you for many years and I miss you so much." At this moment, Madara's one eye showed a fan-shaped pattern of 3 parts shyness, 5 parts anger and 2 parts helplessness. Luo Xie doesn't care about so many things, as long as it's useful. Haven't you seen how Uzumaki Naruto defeated Kageyama by using seduction techniques? Now that Rasa has defeated Madara-sama by using the art of seduction, it's not shameful. It's just that the elderly people really can't stand such exciting scenes. Looking at the various suggestive actions of Hashirama Senju, Madara's nose started bleeding, his eyes went black, and he fell to the ground completely. The white-haired Madara closed his eyes. At this moment, everyone behind Rasa was looking at this scene and dumbfounded. They didn't expect that this would be how Uchiha Madara was defeated in the end. However, Luo Xie did not let his guard down. After all, every ninja in the ninja world is a jerk, and their life-saving skills are better than each other. "Ah!" A cry of pain was heard. It was Karura. The figure lying on the ground suddenly disappeared, and Madara flashed behind Karula and grabbed Karula's neck. "It's Izanami." Madara was blind at this time and relied entirely on chakra perception to move. Yekang, who was standing not far from Karura, broke out in a cold sweat and looked at the scene in front of him somewhat helplessly. The situation on the field changed suddenly and everyone was caught off guard, and everyone stopped what they were doing. "Let her go!" Luo Xie yelled. "Humph, you bunch of stinky bugs! Little brat, how dare you insult the pure friendship between me and Hasi Lama like this? Give me black Zetsu, or this little girl will die." Madara picked up Karula, with empty black eyes on his face, and said with a grin. At this time, Siduk, nestling in Garura's arms, was frightened by Madara's terrifying appearance. Madara's scary smile is too close to Siduk. It looks even more terrifying than the black and white monster last time. Siduk's eyes unconsciously emitted blue light, and he looked at Uchiha Madara in fear. The duck god's power of destiny was unleashed once again, and Madara was fixed in place. Luo Xie reacted immediately and instantly used magnetic style, gold dust shot, and the gold dust bullet pierced through Madara's heart. Cough cough. Madara covered his chest with his left hand and blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. Karula immediately broke free from Madara's control and used the sand manipulation technique to bury Madara's body in the soil, leaving only his head outside. The long pale hair fell to the ground, and Madara's vision gradually blurred. He knew that his Moon Eye plan was stillborn, and his peace philosophy. "Haha, Hasala Mama, I can't prove to you that I am right." Ban murmured and closed his eyes unwillingly. "Finally solved it." Kakuzu covered his chest. He only had 2 hearts left at this time. He had to quickly offer a bounty to make money and hunt for 3 hearts by the way. What a drama! I didn't expect that the Shura of the ninja world would end up falling into the hands of this little guy. Cho put away the badly damaged Chikamatsu Ten and held Saduk in her arms. Cho is still as beautiful as ever, but Saduk did not resist Chiyo's actions and buried his head in the mountains with peace of mind. King Dai Dai watched the scene with gritted teeth, and in his heart he had already dragged out that little yellow duck and spanked it n times. Sorry. Karula looked at Luasha with an apologetic look. She almost held everyone back. Maybe she shouldn't have participated in this operation. It's okay, Karura, we are a team. It's my fault, I failed to protect you. Luosha hugged Karura comfortingly. Karura was already the top talent in Sunagakure, but he was too young and had to spend time studying medical ninjutsu, which made it difficult for him to join this battle. It looks like we need to provide some protection for Karuru. Luosha glanced at Saduk in Chiyo's arms, and didn't expect that this time it was the duck that made the great contribution. Could it be that we have to rely on Duck God in desperate situations? Raza walked forward and put Madara's body into the space scroll. Even if the Sand Village had no need for it, it must not fall into Konoha's hands. The group left the mountain cemetery, and Kakuzu used the earth grudge to mend his torn clothes again. Raza finally understood why Kakuzu always wore black clothes. It turns out that black clothes are free. Kakuzu parted ways with everyone else and set out on a journey to the River Kingdom. Before leaving, Raza handed the Sunagakure Forehead Protector to Kakuzu and invited him to join the village. Kakuzu looked at Raza silently without taking off the Forehead Protector. 1,000 kilograms of gold every year. Luosha asked tentatively, intending to lure Jiaodu. Kakuzu still had a cold look on his face, with no emotion in his eyes. Sagakure does not restrict your freedom. You don't have to stay in the Sand Village except when necessary. Kakuzu remained silent, staring at Raza, his eyes changing slightly. 2,000 kilograms of gold per year, this is the bottom line. Deal. Before Raza could finish his words, Kakuzu reached out and snatched the Sunagakure Forehead Protector. Jiaoda was in a good mood because he could earn an extra 2,000 kilograms of gold every year. The number 1 worker in the ninja world is online again. Raza watched Kakuzu leave with reluctance in his eyes. God of wealth, please remember to come back early to buy 2 more Dolan Messiahs. At this time, Afe dug out a steamed bun from the ground and immediately jumped towards Luosha. Hey, Afe, don't come over here. Luosha immediately stopped Afe. Although Afe was now dressed in white, Luosha still didn't want to have any contact with it. Ah! The problem of spots has been solved, so you should tell me what the urge to defecate is, right? Afe said impatiently. Ahem, the urge to defecate is. Luosha talked a lot and Afe's face flushed as he listened to him. He was extremely excited. Can you control the White Zetsu army? Luosha looked at Afe in confusion. Yes, I am the highest level White Zetsu. Only I can think about such a profound philosophical question as the meaning of defecation. Well, as long as you join the Sand Village, you can discuss life with Li Feng and Yahiko. I believe they will be able to talk to you. With so much free labor, it seems like Yahiko will have to bear the brunt of the burden. As for Li Feng, he should not feel wronged. Since opening the door to the new world, Li Feng has been studying new sealing techniques. Mainly uses disgusting sealing techniques. Li Feng and Afe definitely have common topics. Luosha did not plan to return to the village. There were 3 purple Pokémon habitats in his system backpack, and he planned to send 2 of them to the Bear Country. It's a good opportunity to go to the Bear Country to obtain high-quality Pokémons, and travel to the Hidden Star Village. Cho is anxious to go back to the village to fish, so she takes Fubuko and Afei back with her, while Luosha and the other 3 set out on their journey to the Bear Country. Chapter 69, Orochimaru. Bird Country. A Lotta was foraging in the grass. It wagged its furry tail and swaggered under a vine. Looking up, she saw 7 ripe gourds hanging on the vine. The 7 colored gourds immediately aroused Lotta's appetite. Rata was filled with joy and climbed up the vine without hesitation. At this moment, a white snake silently emerged from the back of the vines and tied up Rata tightly with lightning speed. Rata was so frightened that she could only make a sharp cry, squeak. 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 Although Rata tried her best to break free, as the white snake continued to tighten its body, Rata's struggle became increasingly weak. Finally, exhausted, Lotta kicked his legs and fainted. Seeing this, the white snake quickly dragged Lotta to an extremely hidden underground base. This base was filled with various Pokémon specimens. A similar scene has been happening in this habitat for half a year. The Second Ninja War fell into a silent period, and after the pressure on Konoha was greatly reduced, Orochimaru immediately began to study the Pokémons. Orochimaru has been in the Kingdom of Birds for half a year. He has been obsessed with studying Pokémons and is now completely attracted by the secrets of the Pokémons. It's really fascinating. Orochimaru stuck out his long, thin tongue, licked the corner of his mouth, and looked at the research results in front of him, his eyes flashing with fanaticism and obsession. These days, he has been immersed in the laboratory day and night, trying to uncover the truth behind the Pokémons. Every new discovery made him excited, and the results presented before him at this moment made him even more excited. The spirits only have natural energy in their bodies, and no chakra? So they can't sign a summoning contract with ninjas, and can only use special equipment. Orochimaru picked up a blue and white ball on the table, which he had studied by imitating the poke ball. He named it the Orochimaru ball. His first experiment was the poke ball, but the main ingredient of the poke ball, the red phosphorus fruit, seemed to have become extinct in the ninja world. He didn't find the red phosphorus fruit in the ninja world. He searched all the plants but couldn't find a suitable substitute. So, based on the characteristics of red phosphorus fruit, he integrated hundreds of plant strains and created a new plant strain, blue phosphorus fruit. Fortunately for him, the pokeball technology is not complicated, and the most important space folding technology has long been dabbled in the ninja world. It took him 3 months to create a new type of pokeball. After that, he immediately started the second experiment, the energy reaction of the Pokémons. He discovered that each type of Pokémon had different energy reactions. Bobo's energy was close to the wind attribute, while Rada's energy was unknown and seemed to have no attributes, which he named the general attribute. The green caterpillar is also an unknown energy, which he named the insect attribute. Today, he finally studied these Pokémons thoroughly, and all energy belongs to natural energy. Elves can only absorb 1 or 2 types of energy, and are born to absorb natural energy and cannot cultivate chakra. It has a very high similarity with the 3 holy places. Well, let's study whether there is any way to allow the Pokémons to cultivate chakra. If successful, he will be able to create a man-made sanctuary. White Snake Fairy, he, perhaps, could replace Longdi Cave. Orochimaru turned his head and looked at the Abram monster beside him. This Abram monster was extremely obsessed with the chakra in his body. It's not just his chakra, the Abram monster seems to be obsessed with him as a person. Abagwai, beauty, stick with me. The Abram monster is naturally a good experimental material, and even if the experiment fails, Orochimaru doesn't feel sorry at all. Because Abako monster only has the strength of a Chunin, which is too weak. Abako, come and lie down here. Orochimaru smiled tenderly. Abako was fascinated and lay down on the experimental table obediently. Along with the Abram monster's shrill snake cry, Orochimaru injected chakra into the Abram monster's body. Orochimaru felt the disordered chakra in Abramo's body and frowned. The experiment was about to fail, and Orochimaru reached out again, trying to condense the chakra in Abram monster's body. The Abram monster has a high adaptability to Orochimaru's chakra, and the disordered chakra slowly gathers together. A mark appeared on Abraman's forehead, containing Orochimaru's chakra. The chakra gradually stabilized and continued to flow from the mark on Abramo's forehead to his entire body. The color of the Abram monster also began to change, from purple to white. Did it succeed? Is this a coincidence? Orochimaru was ecstatic. He didn't expect that the experiment would be successful in one go. The white old monster climbed up from the experimental table, and his strength had reached the level of a special jonin. His long tongue exactly the same as Orochimaru's stretched out from the mouth of the old monster, and the old monster climbed onto Orochimaru's body affectionately. The old monster's expression at this moment was 50% similar to Orochimaru. As it turned out, this was indeed a coincidence. Orochimaru's subsequent experiments all failed, and other spirits were unable to withstand his chakra. What is the reason for this? Orochimaru continued to carry out experiments in the land of birds in obscurity, and Abramo stayed by Orochimaru's side all the time. One snake didn't expect that its home would be robbed when it wasn't paying attention. Iwagakure Village, Tsuchikage Building. How is the Pokémon project going? Onoki looked at the Tsuchikage staff officer Akiyi. Reporting to Lord Tsuchikage, Iwagakure now has 2000 genin and 50 chunin equipped with spirits. In addition, all the chunin level spirits are Parasite and Toucan. Since Iwagakure couldn't figure out how to research Pokeballs, it simply gave up and secretly sent people to the Poke shops in the Bird Kingdom and the Bear Kingdom to buy Pokeballs. Since the failure of the Rain Country War, Iwagakure immediately launched the Pokemon project. Now half a year has passed, and the results can only be described as unsatisfactory. Wild Pokemon are relatively weak and generally have low talents, so they can only be equipped with Genin and Chunin. There are only 2 Pokemon with the strength of a particularly Jonin in Iwagakure so far. Carrie cried and begged for a double damaged gash, and there was also a rock crab, which Uniki gave to Huangtu. Well, let's build up the Pokemon army first. After all, we are still one step behind the Sand Village. Noki sighed, wondering when he would be able to catch up with the Sand Village. Yes, at present we can form a 500-man Rada unit, a 500-man Beedrill unit, a 500-man Butterfree unit, a 300-man Spearow unit, and a 200-man Paras unit. These 5 kinds of Pokemons are the main Pokemons of Iwagakure, and Iwagakure now has some experience in breeding them. The Bird Kingdom and the Bear Kingdom currently have 4 green habitats each. Iwagakure has secretly captured 2000 ordinary Pokemon in half a year, and it really didn't attract the attention of others. As for the recently appeared Yukang habitat, Yunyan had thought about it. After all, the quality of the Pokemons in the Yukang habitat was obviously much higher. But there is actually a big yellow bird living in Yukang Mountain. According to the spies from the Togakushi village, the big yellow bird is called Zapdos. Explosive Hunter is no match for Zapdos at all. He goes in vertically and comes out horizontally. Xiao, whose hair was electrocuted into an afro, had to rest in the hospital for 2 months before he recovered. As the eternal loser MVP in this book, Xiao has yet to win a single game. Xiao, even a bird bullies me. In the end, Yunyan temporarily gave up the Yukang habitat and went to Huohuo other habitats. The Zapdos stepped on Carrie to ascend to the throne of a cage-level Pokemon and became famous overnight. The news that the Hidden Bird Village had a cage-level Pokemon spread throughout the ninja world like wings. The Hidden Torii Village has become a hotspot in the ninja world, and many wandering ninjas have come to the Hidden Torii Village and requested to join. Guanjun and Yasha were extremely busy for a while, but they couldn't hide their joy. Chapter 70, The Upper Water Flow Family, New News in the Ninja World. Yunyan Village, the land of the Shangliu family. Chief, I have prepared a potion that can increase the strength of Beedrill. Shang Shui Liapi, followed by a large Beedrill, excitedly came to Shang Shui Liuyun's residence. Pei, really? This is really great. Shang Shui Liuyun immediately hid the pornographic book in his hand and stood up to greet Pei. Shang Shui Liuyun is the patriarch of the Shang Shui Lu family and has the strength of a Jonin. The Shang Shui Liu family, as a clan that controls insects, has a history of hundreds of years. However, the Kamaswai Ryu clan was defeated by the Abermei clan several times and was always bullied by the Abermei clan. The Kamaswai Ryu family, with only 12 members left, has a low status in the Iwagakure village and has been abandoned by the Iwagakure top leaders. Now, the Shang Shui Liu family's chance to turn things around has come. That's right, after Beedrill took my potion, it successfully broke through to the strength of a Chunin. Kamaswai Ryu Pi touched Beedrill and put on a bright smile. He is only 12 years old now, with mediocre ninja talent and only the strength of a genin, and has never been taken seriously by the village. As one of the only 3 new generations in the family, the Shang Shui Liu family attaches great importance to matching. However, it was no use. The secret insect controlling technique of the Kamaswai Ryu family is no longer up to date and is not much stronger than ordinary ninjutsu. The ninja world has entered the era of ninja villages, but there is no ship to carry the Mizuryu family in the new era. The Shang Shui Liu family had a premonition that they would suffer the consequences. But after the Pokemons appeared, he saw the path to the future. The chance for the Kamaswai Ryu family to turn things around has come, and they will counterattack the Abermei clan. He was finally able to bravely shout out those words, "My name is Kamiziru Hayaki, and my dream is to become a Tsukikage." You still have to have dreams. Even if they don't come true, at least you can still think about them. Good boy. As an insect master, Shang Shui Liuyun could feel that Beedrill was obviously stronger than the genin. Chief, this is the potion formula. I named it Beedrill Type 1 Potion. Take Beedrill once every 3 days. If you're fast, you can break through to Chunin in a month. However, the possibility of failure in breaking through cannot be ruled out. He prepared a potion formula and gave it to Shang Shui Liuyun. This was a talent-enhancing potion that he concocted specifically for Beedrill based on its characteristics and the nature of its poison. Pei Yi, as long as the effect of this potion can cultivate Chunin-level Beedrills on a large scale, you will be the future leader of the Upper Water Clan. Shang Shui Liuyun made a promise, although this promise was not very attractive to Pei Yi. Thank you, Chief. I will work hard. I want to train Beedrill into a cage-level man. A flash of ambition appeared in Pei Yi's eyes. It is known that the Sand Village has Steelix, Slowking and Blue Dragon with cage-level strength. The Uegakure village must not fall behind again. Looking at Pei Yi's leaving figure, Shang Shui Liuyun breathed a sigh of relief, picked up the pornographic book and continued reading. In the next 2 months, 24 of the 1 Beedrills cultivated by the Kamasui Ryu clan broke through to the level of Chunin after using the Beedrill Type 10 potion. Shang Shui Liuyun was overjoyed and immediately reported the matter to Unaki. Noki was overjoyed and immediately reused Kamasui Ryuichi, calling him the master of Uegakure research. Shang Shui Liupi was overjoyed. With sufficient research funds, he immediately began to study the Beedrill Type 2 potion. After the Beedrill Type 1 potion was widely used in Uegakure, 220 Beedrills in Uegakure's Beedrill Corps broke through to the level of Chunin. For the first time, Noki felt that there was a successor to the Uegakure village. His heart was trembling with excitement, and he twisted his waist again. Oh Noki, I'll wiggle my hips to entertain the readers. At the Uegakure village hospital, Onoki was pushed out in a wheelchair with a bandage wrapped around his waist by Akina. Lord Tsuchikage, the doctor said that you must not get too emotional in the future. Although your waist is very resistant to twisting and will eventually recover, it can't stand the high frequency of twisting. What do you know? It's rare that Uegakure has produced such an outstanding younger generation. What's wrong with me being happy? Do you want me to count on Carrie? Carrie has lost his reputation now. He has gone from being the famous burst release, Carrie of Uegakure to being a lose release, Carrie. Although Xiao has been teased for never winning, he is still better than the shit king that has been rumored in Sunagakure recently. Besides, Xiao's mission completion rate is still very high. Akina tried his best to help Xiao. After all, Xiao was one of the few top-level fighters in Uegakure. That's right. How come a good seal master is so obsessed with studying that thing? Onoki is skeptical about Li Feng's mental state. A sealing master is a treasure no matter where he is. Who wouldn't be arrogant? But something strange happened in Sand Village. But now the whole ninja world is saying that if you meet Sunagakure's Li Feng, you can abandon the mission and run away. Li Feng is now very famous, surpassing Hitaki Sakumo and becoming the #1 ninja that the whole ninja world does not want to meet the most. Akina mentioned a certain ranking list, which has another name, the most disgusting ninja ranking list. Yes, the first place on the list is the Master of Shit Escape, and the second place is the Master of 1,000 Years of Killing. It's just that Li Feng is more disgusting than Hitaki Sakumo. Onoki said with disdain, although he didn't dare to fight the two men head-on. It's not that we can't beat them, but that we can't beat them. Whether he was stained with shit or killed by the 1,000-year killer, his reputation would be ruined. The reputation of the Tsuchikage must not be tarnished. Even if Noki dies, he will never bring shame to the Uegakure village. All the sealing ninjas are now criticizing Li Feng. I heard that Guahi, the captain of Konoha's sealing squad, is the one who criticizes him the most harshly. Akina sighed and Uegakure did not join in the verbal fight because Uegakure's sealing technique was poor and the sealing technique ninja had no say. It seems that Uegakure is more pitiful. Li Feng holds a grudge against Guahi. A week ago, Guahi was stopped by Li Feng while on a mission, and a big fight broke out between the two. The outcome of the battle is unknown, but Guawa went crazy after returning to Konoha, and vomited a lot. Anyway, Konoha sent Guawa to a mental hospital. Later, a ninja went to the place where the two fought. The ground was covered with yellow mud. It is said that just seeing the scene can cause physical discomfort in people. Akina patted his chest and almost vomited his breakfast when reporting this matter. Konoha has lost a master of seals, which is a good thing. Unaki was silent for a moment, then said something dryly. The two looked at each other and felt that the world had gone crazy. How can there be such a disgusting person? Why doesn't such a disgusting person come from the Uegakure village? It may be disgusting, but he is indeed a talented person. This is a ninja who is proficient in sealing techniques and has nuclear deterrence power. Well, from now on, when Uegakure ninjas encounter a fierce wind, they are allowed to abandon their missions and escape immediately. The village will not pursue the matter. Noki issued an official order, which was considered as recognition of Li Feng's status. The same scene is happening in other large ninja villages, except Sand Village. Chapter 71. Diplomatic Incident, Uzumaki Kaoru. Sand Village, Kazekage Building. At this time, the 13 high-ranking officials of the Sand Village gathered together. Li Feng sat at the bottom, looking at the other 12 people who were looking at him with judging eyes, but he was not panicked at all. The look in Chi Luo's eyes at this moment was not one of judgment, but one of shock and fear. Tell me, how can we restore the reputation of our Sunagakure in this diplomatic crisis? Shagu spoke first, setting the tone for the meeting. Lord Kazekage, let the Ministry of Foreign Affairs decide on the wording. I will definitely go after anyone who dares to accuse the Sand Village. I believe no one will dare to offend us again. Li Feng stood up and told him what he thought was the most effective solution. No, Lord Fengying, I don't think it's appropriate. Foreign Minister Zhong Yu looked devastated and rejected Li Feng's plan. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs deals with major ninja villages every day, how could it be involved in such things? There was a lot of noise in the office. Li Feng got so excited that he took off his shoes and slammed them on the table. The scene suddenly became quiet. There seems to be a sealing spell engraved on those shoes? Not sure, let's see again. Oh, it turns out there are 4 spells carved on the front, back, left and right. What? X12. There was a chaos and all 12 people squeezed under Feng Ying's desk. Get out of the way. You're stepping on my foot. Nami pushed Chi Luo out. Chi Luo was pushed in front of Li Feng, with his face facing a ceiling mark. Chi Luo, save me, save me. With a click, Feng Ying's desk cracked. Li Feng looked at the 12 colleagues who had turned into stone in front of him and put on his shoes helplessly. The farce finally ended and the 13 people continued to sit down and discuss solutions. In the end, Li Feng's proposal was passed unanimously. All the pressure was put on the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Zhong Yu, destroy it, I'm tired. With the release of a statement from the Sand Village Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the heated discussions and voices of condemnation in the ninja world seemed to have been silenced and disappeared overnight. No ninja dared to speak out anymore, as no one wanted to be the second Guahi. At this time, Konoha's Ministry of Foreign Affairs stood up and denounced the Sand Village, but found that the foreign ministries of the other 3 major ninja villages did not follow suit. The Minister of Foreign Affairs of Konoha was also panicked, so he resigned and fled overnight, and issued an apology statement to Li Feng before fleeing. Lord Li Feng, I don't mean to denounce you. I was forced to do it. It was all Danzo who ordered me to do it. Every wrong has its perpetrator. Please don't come looking for me. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the statement with satisfaction and turned invisible. Danzo, IRNM. Luo Xia and his 4 companions are on their way to the west to conquer the Bear Kingdom. The 4 of them traveled along the way, trained Pokémons, and after half a month, they arrived at the Kingdom of Grass. Just passing through the Land of Grass, Luo Xia remembered that there seemed to be a big treasure in the hidden grass village, the Box of Paradise. Luo Xia, you can't control it, let me do it. So, Luo Xia took his friends to visit the Kazekage Village. Kazekage Village is surrounded by green mountains and clear waters, has beautiful scenery and a superior geographical location, and is among the best among the small ninja villages. In the original work, the Kazekage Village built the Kizuna Castle on a small island. This was a prison commissioned by various countries to build the Kazekage Village to detain criminal ninjas. The Ghost Lantern Castle is located on a small island near the Kazekage Village, surrounded by the sea. The island is named after a kind of sour berry called Ghost Lantern that grows all over it. However, at this time, the Kazekage Village had not yet built the Kizuna Castle, so Luo Xia knew that the possibility of finding the Box of Paradise was not high. If you want to get the Box of Paradise, you either have to wait for the construction of Kizuna Castle, or send spies into Kazekage Village to collect intelligence over a long period of time. With the mentality that since they were already here, Luo Xia and the other 3 submitted a visiting card and visited the leader of the Kazekage Village, Uehara Kusanadu. When Uehara Suman learned that Luo Xia and his 3 companions were coming to visit, he immediately went out of the village to greet them, fearing that this would displease Luo Xia. This is the one with the titles of the Devil of Sand Village and the Butcher of 10,000 People. If Luo Sha displeases him, the entire Kazekage village will not be enough for him to kill. Rasa's fame is all thanks to the support of Konoha and Uegakure. Konoha and Uegakure will try their best to flatter Rasa even for their own face. Especially the hunter, after blowing the Sunin's blow to Rasa, Onoki was so angry that he twisted his waist countless times. The Kazekage village is just a small ninja village with only 7,000 ninjas, which is exactly the number of people who were killed by the cycle of heaven and earth, endless sandstorm, gold sand prison, and great burial technique. Well, with one move, the entire village was wiped out. Uehara Kusanadu, I've never been so scared even when meeting the Hokage. Why did this ancestor come to the Kazekage village? Uehara Kusanadu smiled all the way and personally acted as a tour guide for Luo Sha and the other three. Luo Sha, who was treated as a top VIP's VIP, was in a good mood all the way until he saw a little red-haired girl. That dazzling red hair must be the bloodline of the Uzumaki clan. It was hard for Luo Sha not to notice because he himself also had red hair. According to the timeline, Luo Sha has already guessed her identity, Uzumaki Kairin's mother. She was wearing a rather worn linen shirt, her feet bare, stepping on the dusty ground. Her exposed wrists were covered with scars, purple and blue bite marks, and her eyes were filled with fear and despair. Uehara Kusanadu followed Luo Sha's line of sight and naturally saw her, his face turned pale instantly. This is the mobile health pack of the Hidden Grass Village, one of the few high-quality assets of the Hidden Grass Village. Wouldn't it be targeted by this evil star? Lord Luo Sha, I don't know whose child this is, but she has committed a crime right in front of you. Don't let her offend you. I will have her dragged away right away. Uehara Kusanadu smiled apologetically and signaled his men to take the girl away quickly. Do you think I'm a fool? After listening to Uehara Kusanadu's words, Luo Sha smiled and looked at him playfully, with a fan-shaped pattern of 3 parts teasing, 3 parts anger, and 4 parts warning in his eyes. This. Lord Rasa, please forgive me. I was helpless. This girl is from the Uzumaki clan. After the fall of the Uzumaki village, she fled to the Kazekage village. I was afraid that I would anger you by taking in someone from the Uzumaki clan. Being stared at by Luo Sha, Uehara Suman felt very stressed. His back was already wet with sweat. He immediately bowed to apologize. The destruction of the Hidden Whirlpool village was driven by the 4 major ninja villages. The Hidden Mist village was primarily responsible, but the Hidden Sand village also made an important contribution. I want this girl. What do you think, Chief Uehara? Ninja treatment costs money, which is a huge expense for the ninjas in the small ninja village, and it is not certain that the disease can be cured. And if you can heal the injuries by biting a little girl, I believe no Kazekage ninja can refuse it. This is very unfair to the little girl, but for one person to support the entire village of ninjas, isn't that sacrificing the self for the greater good? As the leader of the Kazekage village, Rasa can understand Uehara Soman's actions, but he cannot agree with them. This is the sadness of the small ninja village. In exchange, Kazekage can send 10 medical ninjas to Sunagakure every year to train and learn medical ninjutsu. Luo Sha spoke again. Although Luo Sha's act of saving people was a just act, in the eyes of Kazekage it was robbery. Because of taking her away, countless ninjas in Kazekage will die from injuries in the future. Helping the Kazekage village train 10 medical ninjas every year is the equivalent compensation that Rasa gives to the Kazekage village. Thank you, Master Luo Sha. As long as it's someone you like, you can take them away at any time. The Kazekage village will always remember your kindness. Uehara Kusanadu bowed again excitedly, his face full of sincerity and earnestness. The medical skills of the Sand village are well known to be excellent. The ninjas from the Kazekage village going to the Sand village for further studies is equivalent to African blacks going to study in the top universities in France. Luo Sha walked up to the little girl, squatted down, and said to her gently, "Come with me, you will never suffer again." The little girl blinked her big eyes, her eyes full of confusion and fear. Luo Sha gently touched her head and said, "Come with me, and no one will bite you or hurt you anymore." Hearing this, the little girl's tears instantly flowed down. She nodded slightly, stretched out her little hand, and grabbed the corner of Luo Sha's clothes. She had no attachment to this place, only hatred and resistance. "Can you tell me your name?" "Shiaju, Uzumaki Xiangju." The little girl said softly. "My name is Luo Sha, you can call me brother from now on. Luo Sha looked at Xiangju's thin cheeks, which were exactly the same as when he first met Nagato. Forget it, let's find another daughter for Shagu. Luo Sha once again adopted a daughter on behalf of his father, and he felt that his filial piety was comparable to that of Heizetsu. Yeah, brother. Xiangju revealed an imperceptible smile, with unspeakable emotions surging in her heart. That is the warmth of touching the light after being redeemed, that is the joy of a lonely person after having loved ones, like a clear spring, moistening her soul. Although he did not get the box of paradise during this trip to Kazekage, he unexpectedly met Uzumaki Kakuju, which was considered a fruitful experience. However, on the second day when Rasa was enjoying himself in Kazekage Village, the Sand Village Anbu delivered a letter from Shagu. This Anbu guy's name is Sunaheim, and he is an Anbu ninja who has been in office for nearly 3 years and is good at wind jutsu. He is an Anbu sent by Shagu to protect Luo Sha, and he is also one of the ones who lost more than 2 kilograms while chasing the dragon in Lulan last time. Luo Sha took out the letter, scanned 2 lines and put it away immediately. The entire letter was urging him to return to the village as soon as possible. Compared to Shin, Luo Sha is more interested in Sunahe. I don't know where this guy got his hobby from, but he actually has a middle-parted hairstyle. Sunaheim came with a letter and left with a little girl. Xiangju was too young to participate in the operation, so she was sent back home by Luo Sha. Luo Sha felt at ease and led the team on the road again, leaving the Kazekage village with the farewell of Uehara Kusanadu. The land of grass is adjacent to the land of fire, and the hidden grass village has always been a follower of Konoha, so now is not the time to conquer the hidden grass village. Given Hara Kazekage's character, when Konoha becomes weak, he will naturally lead the Kazekage village into the arms of Sunagakure. Because admiring the strong is human nature. Self-rescue is human instinct. Sand Village, Rasa family. Ding dong, hello, Mr. Nagato, please sign for your express delivery. I'm here. Nagato opened the door and saw an Anbu ninja and a little red-haired girl standing in front of the door. Where's the express? Nagato asked puzzledly. This is Lord Rasa's letter and this little girl. The Anbu entrusted the letter and Xiangju to Nagato and left. Nagato opened the envelope and saw the following words, Nagato, do you want a younger sister? She's from the same clan as you. Nagato looked at Xiangju, and Xiangju's eyes were full of anxiety. For some reason, an indescribable emotion welled up in Nagato's heart. He saw the fear and pain deep in Xiangju's heart, and he couldn't help but want to give her some comfort and protection so that she would no longer be hurt. Don't be afraid, I will protect you in the future. Nagato reached out and touched Xiangju's red hair. This seemingly simple promise, like a deep brand, is forever engraved in the hearts of the two. The golden sunset is like a gorgeous brocade dress, gently draped over the young boys and girls, making their figures particularly beautiful. Chapter 72. Bear Country, Hidden Star Village. We've finally arrived at the Bear Country. Suya collapsed on the back of the armored bird and looked at the canyon below. The Bear Country is located to the west of the Bird Country. It has the Hell Valley, a natural barrier filled with poisonous gas, and its border is surrounded by the Hell Valley. As long as they cross the canyon, Luo Sha and others will reach the territory of the Bear Country. Let's go to the Hidden Star Village first. Luo Sha sat on the back of Rayquaza and looked at the scenery of Hell Valley. Apart from the fact that people can easily die in Hell Valley, the scenery is also unique in the ninja world. Ever since Kakuzu started causing trouble in the Bear Country, the Sand Village has already sent spies to infiltrate the Hashigakure village. Every spies in the Sand Village now has a ditto, so the probability of being discovered by other ninja villages is greatly reduced. In the past, being a spy was a job with a very high mortality rate, and it could be said that it was a life and death situation. Now, espionage is still a job with a very high mortality rate, but the mortality rate has dropped to 50%. During these 10 months, the spies have completely understood the situation in the Hidden Star Village. More than 200 years ago, a meteorite fell from the sky and landed in the Bear Country. A ninja discovered this meteorite. With the help of it, he developed the peacock technique, which can transform chakra into various beast forms to attack the enemy. Afterwards, he gathered a group of ninjas to practice the peacock technique and established the Hidden Star Village. He also became the first leader of the Hidden Star Village and called himself the First Star Shadow. Today, the Hidden Star Village is led by the second generation Kazekage, Shirayusei, who inherited the will of the first generation Kazekage and advocated that the ninjas in the village should make full use of the meteorite star from outer space to practice. In the original work, the third generation of Xingyin in the future is opposed to relying on stars for cultivation. So, the ninjas in the Hidden Star Village have already discovered the side effects of the stars, and they are strongly opposed to relying on the stars for training. The current leader of the opposition is Black Knight Star. His parents died young due to practicing peacock magic, and he was adopted and raised by his neighbors. Luo Xia looked at the information in his hand, thinking about how to take control of the Xingyin village. There is no doubt that Kuroyahei is the best breakthrough point. Sunagakure helped him to the position of Star Shadow, and he led the Star Village to surrender to Sunagakure. However, Kuroyobashi may not be willing to cooperate with the Sand Village. If there is really no other choice, the only option is to kill all the top leaders of Xingyin and support a new puppet to take the throne. There are less than 1,000 ninjas in the Hidden Star Village, and they don't even have a decent protective barrier. Luo Xia and his 3 companions went straight into the village and stayed in the only hotel in the village. In the evening, a young man with short brown hair knocked on Luo Xia's door. After entering the room, the young man immediately performed a ninja salute and whispered, "The Chunin of Sand Village, Hiraluk, greets Master Rasa." There was a squirming on Hiraluk's face, and ditto fell off his face, revealing his true face. "Get up, what's the current situation in the Hidden Star Village?" Luo Xia picked up the star-shaped teacup and poured a cup of tea for Shiruluk. "Lord Rasa, I have been training in the Hidden Star Village for 9 months and have successfully mastered the peacock technique. I can now transform my chakra into a reindeer to perform physical attacks and absorb other people's chakra. My strength has reached that of a special jonin." Shiruluk first talked about his own situation and showed his value to Luo Xia. "My training talent has attracted the attention of Bai Rixing, and I became a ninja under Bai Rixing. Bai Rixing is the Star Shadow, and 60% of the ninjas in the village support him. There are still 40% of ninjas who support the Dark Knight Star. They all died because their family members practiced the Peacock Mystic method. They are firmly opposed to relying on the star for practice. Kuroyahashi is very powerful. He is one of the only 2 elite jonin in the Hidden Star Village. The other elite jonin is the Hidden Star Village." After listening to Shiruluk's report, it is likely that the next 3 generations of Star Shadow will be the Night Star. What is the current relationship between Day Star and Night Star? Although the 2 sides have different ideologies, there is no hatred between them. Black Night Star is very rational and there is almost no possibility of rebellion. But Dark Star, the top jonin under Dark Star, is an ambitious man who is afraid of death. Ziluluk understood the profound meaning of Luo Xia's words, told him the situation of Dark Star, and suggested starting from Dark Star. Luo Xia looked at Shiruluk with appreciation. He was indeed a good spy. "Contact Dark Star. As long as he can be used by us, we can promise him that we will help him ascend to the position of Star Shadow. This is the divine poison developed by Elder Kyande. There is no cure for the poisoned. An antidote is needed every month to suppress it." Rosa threw a bottle of poison to Ziluluk. Thanks to Tsunade's help, Cho, who was a lazy guy, made great efforts and developed a lot of poisons. The mad poison was developed by Cho after being inspired by the Slow King. The poisoned person's pain nerves become extremely sensitive, going crazy, and eventually dying. According to Cho, only Tsunade has the ability to break the god of madness poison. Naturally, no one can crack the Xingyin village. Shiruluk hid the poison in his clothes, bowed and left. He knew that this was a test from Luo Xia. As long as he successfully controls the Dark Star, he will catch Luo Xia's eye and have the opportunity to become the 4th generation's direct descendant. He has already shown enough ninja talent, and the next step is to demonstrate his ability to get things done. He must succeed. He wants to become a future high-ranking member of Sand Village. Chopper's heart was filled with ambition. As a commoner, this might be his only chance to reach a higher position. Dark Star residence at night. Unseen looked at the fish feast in front of him and asked his wife in surprise, "What day is today? Why is it so sumptuous?" The fishmonger's wife is pregnant today, so she broke the fish. "I thought it was so cheap, so I bought more." The wife smiled, picked up the chopsticks, picked up a piece of fish and put it into the Dark Star bowl. "Hey? That old man is about 70 years old, right? How old is his wife?" Angxing took a bite of fish and exclaimed in surprise. "I'm 66 years old now, so it's a good year. Why does this fish taste weird?" Dark Star was unsure and took another bite. Really? I think it's from Lao Mo. You know, Lao Mo's fish always tastes a little weird. I see. Before Engzing could finish his words, he suddenly felt dizzy and his vision started to blur and everything became unclear. A strong feeling of dizziness came over him, and Engzing pointed his trembling hand at his wife, looking at her in disbelief. Hee hee. The wife stood up, her face moved, and the ditto flowed to her shoulders, revealing her true appearance. It's Shiluk. For this day, Shiruluk specially observed the movements and expressions of Dark Star's wife so that he could imitate her so vividly. Hiruluk sneered and walked up to Dark Star, looking down at him. Where is my wife? Dark Star said angrily, suppressing his physical discomfort. As long as you work for us, your wife will be safe. What exactly do you want to do? Dark Star realized the seriousness of the matter. Submit to us, and we can help you ascend to the position of Star Shadow. Hiruluk grabbed Engzing's collar and whispered into Engzing's ear, you don't want anything to happen to your wife, do you? Don't dream on. I won't give in. Engzing was a little shaken, but out of his responsibility to the village, he gritted his teeth and refused. Really? Then you can just wait to die from the poison. Shiruluk turned around and prepared to leave. Wait. There was a hint of despair in Dark Star's voice, I promise you. Hiruluk smiled complacently and handed the suppressed medicine to Dark Star. Unseen, who was suffering from a splitting headache, immediately took the medicine and poured it into his mouth. Shiruluk had already figured out Dark Star's character. He loves the village, but he loves himself more. Remember, your life is in our hands now. Do your job well and I will give you the antidote every month. You will not regret your choice today. Shiruluk warned. I understand. Dark Star clenched his fists and lowered his head silently. Chapter 73. On a quiet night, a sudden rebellion quietly unfolded in the Hidden Star Village. In Bai Rixing's residence, Bai Rixing lay quietly on the bed, immersed in a sweet dream. Suddenly, his face began to distort, and his peaceful sleep was broken by a powerful nightmare. His brows were tightly furrowed, and his lips were trembling slightly, as if he wanted to shout but couldn't. Fine beads of sweat appeared on his forehead, flowing down his cheeks and soaking the pillow. As the nightmare intensified, Bai Rixing's body began to tremble uncontrollably, and his legs twitched from time to time. A cold light flashed in the darkness, and before he could react, an extremely sharp claw flashed like lightning and accurately cut his throat. Blood splattered and Bai Rixing closed his eyes forever. After completing the assassination, the werewolf immediately burrowed back underground. 5 minutes later, Jengar showed up, used his chubby little hands to feel the breath of Daystar, and then left with peace of mind. Not long after Jengar left, Dark Star sneaked here carrying a sack. Dark Star began to set up the crime scene to create an illusion. The real mastermind behind the incident was currently sleeping soundly in the hotel. The next day, at dawn, the sky brightened, and the ninjas of the Hidden Star Village were shocked to find that Kuro Yoroji assassinated the second-generation Kazekage, and eventually both of them died. All the direct high-ranking officials of the second-generation Xingyiang were assassinated. When the subordinates of the second-generation Xingyiang saw that all their backers had fallen, they turned around and defected to Dark Star. He who knows the current affairs is a hero. Today, Dark Star has become the most prestigious ninja among the existing ninjas in the Hidden Star Village. He has undisputedly ascended the throne of the third-generation Star Shadow and become the new leader of the village. The first order given to Dark Star upon taking the throne was to track down the murderer. This important task was given to Hiruluk, who finally discovered 2 spies from Konoha village. After some interrogation, the truth came out. Although nothing was revealed through torture, the 2 Konoha ninjas had the mark of the root on their bodies. Danzo Shimura. Konoha coveted the meteorite from the Hidden Star Village and resorted to such despicable means. The people of Xingyian village were outraged, but they only shouted verbally without taking any substantial action. The ninjas of the Hidden Star Village are arrogant, but not stupid. Using 900 ninjas to fight against 40,000 ninjas is like lighting a light in the toilet. But Xingyian village will remember this grudge forever. It's all damn Konoha, damn Danzo Shimura. At the same time, in order to cover up the fact of internal strife among the top leaders, the second-generation Hashikage's tombstone was engraved with "died at the hands of Konoha." The second order from Dark Star was to seal off the meteorite star from outer space. From then on, the ninjas of the Hidden Star Village were no longer allowed to rely on the star for training. This caused some complaints, but they soon died down. Dark Star's third order was to open an Pokémon shop in the Hidden Star Village and at the same time implement the Elf Protection Law to vigorously develop the Pokémon industry. The Sand Village is now well known. With the help of Pokémons, the Sand Village is currently the second largest ninja village after Konoha. The fourth order of Dark Star's ascension was to appoint new senior management. Shiruluk became the Minister of Finance and the principal of the ninja school. At the same time, the ninja school opened a spirit class, which was taught by the principal, Hiruluk, himself. Hiruluk also hired another spy from the Sand Village and put him in charge of the ideological education courses, in order to cultivate the star-hidden ninjas' loyalty and patriotism from an early age. The Will of Wind, which is on par with the Will of Fire, is online again, bringing a little brainwashing shock to the Hidden Star Village. Following a series of actions by Dark Star, the entire Hoshigakure village was almost under the control of Sand Village from top to bottom. Hiruluk, well done. From now on you will be the main person in charge of Sunagakure in the Hoshigakure village and be granted the title of Jonin. Here is my contact information, you can contact me directly. Luosha patted Ziluluk's shoulder appreciatively and handed Ziluluk the contact information. Thank you, Lord Luosha. Ziruluk couldn't hide his joy. He would have a backer in the future. Is there any Pokémon you want? Lord Luosha, can you give me a Pokémon in deer form? Hiluluk looked at Luosha cautiously. As an unappreciated ninja in the Sand Village, he only has one Pokémon with the strength of a Chunin, Sandomoru. Ditto is a Genin, but all his abilities are in transformation, so he has almost no fighting power. In fact, his favorite is deer. He has always wanted to capture a deer Pokémon, but he never had the chance. How about 4 seasons deer? Luosha looked it up and found that there were only 4 types of deer Pokémon. The blue quality 4 seasons deer can evolve into 4 forms of sprout deer, spring, summer, autumn, and winter. Purple quality fright horned deer can evolve into normal and psychic type strange horned deer. The purple quality Kylan Chi can evolve into normal and psychic Kylan. Finally, there is the orange quality ancient tripod deer. Luosha felt painful when buying a blue quality Pokémon. 5 Pokémon coins, that's 500 million taels. If he didn't have high hopes for Shiruluk, he wouldn't have been willing to spend so much money. It's all the author's fault. He set the price of the red habitat at 1 million Pokémon coins. How long will it take him to save up enough to afford it? Even if he earned 4 million Ryo from Kakuzu, which is equivalent to 5,000 million Pokémon coins, his current balance is only 450 million Pokémon coins. I want the 4 seasons deer. Thank you, Lord Luosha, for helping me. Ziruluk bowed again to express his gratitude to Luosha. This is a 4 seasons deer Pokémon egg. This child is of very good quality. You must cultivate it well. This is a 4 seasons deer cultivation guide. You can take it as well. Luosha handed the item to Ziluluk and continued. 2 new habitats have appeared in Bear Country. They are of much higher quality than the previous ones. They contain 4 season deer populations. By the way, the Hidden Star Village needs to cultivate 3 bees and big milk tanks. Ordinary people without ninja talent can be selected to be responsible for this matter. Luosha materialized 2 purple habitats last night, the Zincan habitat and the Xingqian habitat. Yes, the Hidden Star Village will live up to its mission and fight for the rise of the Sand Village. Hiruluk's eyes were fanatical. He had already seen the value of the Hidden Star Village. The more valuable Xingqian village is, the more valuable he is. As the Xingqian village settled down, Luosha prepared to take the star into his possession. Luosha originally wanted to put the star into the space scroll, but Rayquaza suddenly flew down from the sky, staring at the star with its big eyes without blinking. In the end, Rayquaza swallowed the star into its stomach in one gulp, but Rayquaza didn't seem to undergo any changes. Little love. I am here. What's going on with Rayquaza? Why does that meteorite attract Rayquaza? Ding, please explore on your own. Xiao AI can no longer be relied upon, so Luosha decides to take the fight himself. Luosha held down Rayquaza, pried open Rayquaza's mouth, and looked inside. Rayquaza, can you still spit it out? Hiccup. Rayquaza burped and directly fumigates Luosha. Hey, looks like I'll have to brush your teeth when I get home. Ouch. Okay, if you feel uncomfortable, remember to tell me. Chapter 74. After resolving the matter in Xingqian village, Luosha and the other 3 went to Zincan habitat and Xingqian habitat together with Ziluluk. The terrain of Bear Country is forest and grassland, the habitat ecology is extremely perfect, and there are Pokémon of various attributes. In the grassland area, even fire-type Pokémon such as Flame Lion and Flame Horse survive. In the forest area, the most distinctive bear Pokémon include Kumar, 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 and Kumar. Hell Valley is a paradise for ghost and poison-type Pokémon. The dominant Pokémon in the Xingqian habitat is a LV68 Ursa Major, and the dominant Pokémon in the Zincan habitat is a LV67 Ursa Major. The Pokémon that can bring economic benefits in the habitat include Tribeca and Miltank. The Sand Village Oasis is not capable of breeding these two types of Pokémon on a large scale, so handing them over to the Star Village is the best option. Anyway, what belongs to Xingqian belongs to Sunagakure. The Sand Village can directly purchase from the Hoshigakure at cost price, and the Hoshigakure village can just make money from other ninja villages. It is worth mentioning that Hiluluk's Four Seasons deer was successfully hatched, and Hiluluk named the Four Seasons deer Chopper. This inexplicable sense of familiarity made Luosha feel that this Four Seasons deer seemed somewhat extraordinary. Name Four Seasons deer. Gender male. Attribute general, grass. Feature Tianen, additional effects of moves are more likely to appear. Level LV1. Individual 5V, HP 25, Attack 31, Defense 31, Special Attack 31, Special Defense 31, SPEED 31. Skills Impact, Cry, Sleep Talk, Inherited, Photosynthesis, Inherited. As expected, judging from the name, this four-season deer has a bit of destiny in it. Because blue-quality Pokémons, even if they are produced by the system, are extremely difficult to reach the 5V level. Ziluluk also captured 3 four-season deer in the Xingqian habitat. As a deer lover, he is ready to capture all the deer. Afterwards, Hilurika captured 100 Miltanks and 100 Trillions for the Hidden Star Village, and returned with a bag full of Pokeballs. However, Shiluluk was blocked by 2 circus bears and a baby bear. This is their territory. Shiruluk has caught so many bees, and unless they move away, they will have no honey to eat in the future. The level of Circle Bear Father is as high as LV55, and the level of Circle Bear Mother is as high as LV56. Ziluluk is no match for Circle Bear at all. Well, I didn't mean it. How about you guys come with me? I'll raise 3 bees for you, with an unlimited supply of honey, and free food and lodging. Shiruluk pretended to be calm, but he was actually very panicked. Circle Bear Father was furious. This human actually wanted to bribe him? Is he so easy to bribe? When Father Circle Bear was about to attack, Mother Circle Bear slapped him aside. The baby bear looked excited and pulled his mother bear, hoping that she would agree to Shiruluk. Circle Bear Mother touched the baby bear's head and agreed to Shiruluk's conditions. Really? Shiruluk himself was shocked. He had been trying every possible means to save the situation, and it actually worked. The man and 3 bears returned to the Xingqian village. The mother bear looked at the new territory and the poop scooper who served them with satisfaction, and moved in directly with her children. Circle Bear Dad walked listlessly behind, thinking about his life as a bear. The Xingqian village began large-scale construction, efficiently built the Big Milk Tank Ranch and the 3B Forest, followed the pace of the Sand Village, and embarked on a road to prosperity. Luosha launched another plan to abduct Pokémons in the habitat. Luosha did not subdue the Circle Bear and Block Bear tribes. This type of Pokémon must be captured by the trainer himself, otherwise the Pokémon will not recognize the trainer. The Jonin of Sand Village are capable, so they can just come and subdue them themselves. The 2 dominant Pokémon, like the Iron Kingdom habitat, serve as guardians to protect the stability of the habitat. The country of bears is not the country of wind, and the habitats may be in danger, so it is better to keep them to protect the habitats. Besides, Sand Village is not short of 2 elite Jonin-level Pokémon. Of the 2 habitats, the Pokémon most needed by the Sand Village are Chandra and Tropical Dragon. Chandler is a purple-quality Pokémon and a major medical force. Tropical Dragon is a blue-quality Pokémon with a large population. It can form a sky army and can also produce fruits on a normal basis. Rayquaza returned again, and with a whistle from Rasa, it flew down from the sky. Of course, Rayquaza flew down not because it heard Rasa's whistle, but because of the bond between the two. Luosha just thought it was very cool to whistle and summon the dragon, without even having to collect all 7 Dragon Balls. As soon as Rayquaza's pressure was released, the tropical dragon chief's eyes were filled with tears, as if he had seen his idol. He took 100 members of the tribe and went to the sand village. As for Chansey, after Luo Sha promised to let Chansey work in the hospital and provide food and accommodation, Chansey packed up her bedding, stood in a line with her bags, waiting to enter the poke ball. In the package of the Jigglypuff egg, besides the round stone and lucky incense, the rest are some herbs. He is indeed a natural-born medical worker. Elves are simple, but in fact they are not that easy to deceive. Thanks to the power of Tokiwa, Rosa can communicate with Chansey without any obstacles and can also gain Chansey's trust more easily. If someone else came, he would probably get a series of slaps in the face. Luo Sha captured 7 Jigglypuffs and 2 little lucky eggs. He gave one little lucky egg to Karura to raise, and left the other one to Xiangju. After taming the target Pokémon, the 4 of them wandered around the habitat to see if they could find any talented little fellows. Luo Sha found a 2V Heracross, LV21, in the Zincan habitat. It was working hard to train its fighting skills. It seems to be very suitable for Zi Luo. Luo Sha used magnetic release to knock Heracross to the ground and put him into the Pokeball. Before Heracross knew what was happening, he was put into the Pokeball in a daze. The 4 of them headed eastward, toward the border of the Bear Country, and arrived at Hell Valley. This is already the edge of Zincan's habitat. Along the way, Luo Sha did not find a second Pokémon with a high individual value. Until a strange-looking, smelly mud creature crawled out of the Hell Valley, poking its head out as if looking for food. This slime is colorful and seems to be in a Lola form. It is composed of stripes of 4 colors, lavender, blue, yellow, and dark purple, with bright colors and strong contrast. The head of the stinky mud is round, and its body is covered with crystal white small stones. It doesn't look like a normal stinky mud at all. Name Stinky Mud, colored flash. Gender male. Attributes poison, evil. Features poisonous hands, any contact may cause the opponent to become abnormal. Level LV46. Individual 4V, HP 31, Attack 31, Defense 31, Special Attack 22, Special Defense 31, SPEED 22. Skills Acid Bomb, Toxic Fang, Shrink, Garbage Shot, Dissolve, Black Eyes, Inherited. Chapter 75. Hi. After looking at the data of Jojo Mud, Luo Sha used magnetic release, golden sand wave without hesitation to bury Jojo Mud. The sand receded, leaving only a mosquito-repellent eye of stinking mud lying in its place. Although this stinky mud has good talents, it is not Luo Sha's cup of tea. I can only go back to the village to see if there is anyone who wants to raise Chao Chu Ni. The 4 flew over the Hell Valley and started their journey back to the village. When the 4 returned to the sand village, they found that the atmosphere in the village seemed something was wrong. Most of the ninjas passing by looked listless. On the way to the Kazekage building, he met Zoro. Zoro had a dead fish face and Commander Slash followed closely behind him. Uncle Zoro, has anything happened in the village recently? Suya couldn't help but inquire about the news out of curiosity. Recently, Lord Kazekage ordered a crackdown on pornography. All pornographic shops were closed down, and many ninjas were arrested and taken to the police department. As the Minister of Police, Zoro has been very busy lately. Why are we suddenly launching a crackdown on pornography? Yekeng came up with a curious look on his face. Because, there is an author who wrote pornographic stories about Kazekage-sama without knowing the consequences, and he is currently being hunted down. Ah! Could he be the author of Lord Kazekage Falls in Love with Me? Yekeng exclaimed, attracting the attention of all passers-by. Well, I just heard about such a book. After all, it sells so well in bookstores. Yekeng's awkward explanation was totally unreliable. Karula was also a little worried at this time, because it was she who recommended this book to Yekeng to read. As good friends, the two are also the book's biggest fans and often promote it to other female classmates. Has the author been caught? Karula asked in a low voice. If she was caught, she would have to ask her father to help her get some money. The author couldn't go to jail before the sequel came out. This one. Zoro was silent. They had just caught her this morning, and now the entire police department was helping Nami destroy the evidence, hoping to hide it from Shagu. Why arrest the author of pornographic articles? Those pornographic films are obviously more outrageous, but they are still very popular. Yekeng complained bluntly, once again attracting the attention of all passers-by. This is a brave man. Sister, the chief of police is standing next to you. Yekeng, Be careful with your words. Zoro gave a reminder, but ultimately did not take Yekeng back to the police department for ideological education. At this time, Jiaoluo had already covered Yekeng's mouth. She was afraid that Yekeng would make a mistake and expose her as well. Because the two of them were reading pornographic novels together. No matter how outrageous the porn is, Master Feng Ying can't possibly take part in it personally. The protagonist of the porn is Master Feng Ying, it would be strange if he didn't catch him. With an empty mind, Suya spoke the truth without hesitation. Zoro endured it again and again before finally putting down his handcuffed hands. Luo Sha covered Suya's mouth with a dark face. Could it be that Suya has been treated as a pendant for so long that he has lost his brain? So by arresting the author of pornographic articles, everyone else has suffered misfortune, but what about those bathhouses? Jiaoluo pointed at the row of shops curiously. There were 18 shops in the row but only one was still open, but business was very slow. Carula, you are still young, you will know in the future. Zoro's face was serious. He and his men were the ones who closed those 17 stores personally. What upset him most was that he saw many familiar faces in there, including his 78-year-old father. What about this row of hotels? Jiaoluo pointed to a street opposite the bathhouse. Only one hotel on this street survived the disaster. Zoro was silent because he caught his wife in the hotel the day before yesterday. After signing the divorce agreement yesterday, he has decided to spend the rest of his life with Commander Cleaver. The police department is now overcrowded. All those detained there are unfaithful men and women, as well as many mistresses. The worst of all is that there is a mistress. Don't be so curious. You will understand when you grow up. Zoro sighed, turned, and left, feeling quite desolate. In fact, the ninjas who were transferred from the interrogation department to the police department were the most miserable. They thought that things would be much easier when they came to the police department, but they didn't expect to be so busy. It's like a worker fantasizing that the next job will be better, only to find out that the new job is worse. Every member of the police force is now a master at handling emotional disputes, and the big wolfhounds have also become experts in catching adultery. A big wolfhound can tell if a person is cheating just by sniffing it. Luo Sha and the other three said goodbye to Zoro and came to the Kazekage building. Shagu's flame chicken put on the clothes of the Anbu and blended in perfectly with the Anbu. Luo Sha almost didn't recognize it. Flame chicken, you look so handsome today. Flammel responded handsomely and continued to meditate and practice. Dong dong dong. Luo Sha knocked on the door 3 times, and when he heard no strange sound, he pushed the door open and walked in. Shagu was busy processing documents because too many people had been arrested recently and the complaint letters had piled up into a mountain. There are not only complaint letters, but also applications for divorce, applications for property division, applications to kill the cheating partner, there are all kinds of them. How could a dignified Feng Ying handle such a trivial matter? Of course, it is because a large number of ninjas from various departments have entered the police department and are undergoing ideological education work. There is a shortage of people everywhere in the Sand Village now. After all, who doesn't have some pornographic stories and movies? I can only say that Sand Village has never swept away the yellow, but this time it has stirred up a hornet's nest. No one was prepared and didn't even have time to hide. Master, is this action too drastic? Luo Sha sat right opposite Shagu. In front of him were documents piled several meters high, and he couldn't even see Shagu's head. Oh, I know. A faint sigh came from behind the file, and Shagu continued. So they just carried out ideological education and released him after 2 days. The key is that the author of the pornographic novel has gone missing and the police haven't caught him yet. Because the workload was too heavy, Nami was temporarily pulled over to help. She was sitting next to Shagu and was also processing documents. When Nami heard what Shagu said, she paused for a moment and continued working as if nothing had happened. Nami was actually very panicked inside. Now she could only pray that Soran could lend a helping hand and help her clear the evidence. Okay, I captured some Pokémon in the Bear Country, 7 Chandler eggs and 100 tropical dragons. Chandler eggs can be directly sent to the Sand Village Hospital after they are cultivated. Tropical dragons can produce fruits in normal times and form a flying unit in wartime. Luo Sha reported the gains of this trip and took out all the Pokeballs. It just so happens that Tapu Mu and the Greening team have opened up a small oasis in the east of the Sand Village, the East Sand Oasis. Tropical Dragon will be the first group of Pokémon to move in. Shagu nodded in approval and started editing the documents in his hand. The Tropical Dragon Force needs 100 ninjas, preferably ninjutsu-type ninjas who are good at long-range ninjutsu. Let's wait until this anti-pornography operation is over before we conduct the selection. Luo Sha said helplessly, what is going on? A crackdown on pornography could involve so many ninjas. It really shows how morals are declining. God can bear witness to this. I, Luo Sha, swear to never forsake gambling and drugs. Nami, the instigator, was as silent as a quail, hiding aside for fear of being noticed. Nami, I will never publish pornographic stories again.